Hello and welcome to the Complete Godot Intermediate Game Development course. Now my name is William, and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. I've been developing games for a very long time, but I absolutely love teaching others how to create games even more. Now in this course, we're going to go ahead and take our game development skills to the next level. We're going to start to develop more complex features, such as saving systems, enemy AI navigation, and also some character customization. Now we're going to develop 3 games overall, so let's go ahead and take a look at each game. In our first project, we will be building a classic style idle tavern game. You can play the game for free at the link below. Throughout this game's development, we will learn how to build multiple calculation counters, automated functioning, and even some time since left coin collection when the game is turned off. On top of all that, we will also learn how to use 3 different saving systems, starting off with the industry standard JSON style, then the native Godot Resource saving, and finally, the CFG files best for game settings saves. In our second project, we will be building a top-down pixelated dungeon game. You can play the game for free at the link below. During this game's development, we will learn how to create a customized character to explore deep into a mine. Throughout their journey, they will gain XP to level up and collect items to help them on their quest. Some of the new features we will learn how to implement are level tracking, random map generation, and in-game difficulty increases. In our third project, we will be building a tower defense game. You can play the game for free at the link below. For this game, we will be creating 2 sides of a map, one for the player and the other for the enemy. Once the game starts, the battle will begin, and whoever destroys the opposing side's base wins the game. Some of the new features we will learn to make are enemy AI navigation, multi-enemy class types, and even unit selection in the main menu. In the final section of our course, we will learn how to use GitHub with Godot for source control. Source control helps us as developers to save our game's progress in case we ever want to roll back changes, collaborate with others, or even share our game easily across the web. Now without further wait, let's jump right in and begin the course. Before we start the project, I just want to remind you this is the free module, so you will get a taste of the project we're going to make and also my teaching style. If you'd like to continue the full project, you will have to go to my official website at redfoolstudio.com/game development. The links will be in the description. Now let's get started. In this project, we will be building a classic style idle tavern game. You can play the game below at the link. Throughout this game's development, we will learn how to build multiple calculation counters, automated functioning, and even some time since left coin collection when the game is turned off. On top of all that, we will also learn how to use 3 different saving systems, starting off with the industry standard JSON style, then the native Godot Resource saving, and finally, the CFG files best for game settings saves. Alright, so in this section, we're going to set up everything we need for our idle tavern game. We're going to start off and create a new Godot project. We're then going to go ahead and add all the folders for the art, components, data, scenes, and scripts. We're then going to make sure to import all the assets being used, such as the background music, the sound effects, and then also the art asset pack. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, I've opened up a new Godot project. I've also named it as Idle Tavern Game. What we're going to do now is create a couple folders that's going to help us organize some stuff. We're going to start off on the rest folder here on the lower left, right click, create new folder. let's go ahead and call this art all lowercase. This is where we're going to put all of our assets. Let's hit OK. I'm also going to change the color, selecting it, right click, set color, and set it to red. Let's create another folder now, right click on res, create new folder. We're going to go ahead and call this components. And this is where we're going to add all of our created components. Let's select it, right click, set new color, and set it to yellow. Let's create another one now, right click, create new folder. We're going to call this data. This is where we're going to put all of our saved data. We're also going to change that color as well. Right click, set it to orange. All right, 2 more to go. Let's go ahead, right click, create new folder. This one will be for scenes. And we're also going to change the color. I'm going to set it to purple. 1 more to go. Right click, create new folder. We're going to call this scripts. And this is of course going to house all of our different scripts. Let's give that a color as well. Right click, set color to green. All right, those are going to be all of our folders. Now remember, we want to put all of our downloaded assets into this art folder, okay? Now one more thing we could also set to make our lives a little bit easier down the road is we're going to go to Project, Project Settings, and then we're going to locate Window under Display. You can also type it out here. Select Window real quick. Make sure your mode is set to Windowed. And then we're also going to go down here to the Stretch. Currently our mode for Stretch is set to Disabled. I'm going to go ahead and just do Viewport, okay? This will just help the scaling of the game for now. Go ahead and hit Close. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and download all the different asset packs we're going to be using for our game. I found a couple ones I think work really well for the game we're making. Starting off with this one here for the background music. It's by Chippy's Chiptune Music Pack. Comes with a couple different songs. One in particular I like a lot, but you can use any song you want from here. You're going to find this at chippy01302.itch.io/chippy-music-pack. Once here, all you got to do is select download now. Once the download works, then go ahead and extract all and drag and drop in whichever song you want for the background music into our art folder we created earlier. Now these links will also be in the slide before and of course in the video's description. Next up, we need the sound effects, and we're going to get those here at Kenny. It's going to be called RPG Audio, and you can find this at kenny.nl/assets/rpg-audio. And you're going to do the exact same thing. Go to download, start the download process. Once it's downloaded, extract all, and then simply drag and drop everything into that art folder. Last thing we need, of course, is the actual art for the game assets, and that's going to be this one here, Tiny Dungeon, also by Kenny, located at kenny.nl/assets/tiny-dungeon. And it's going to have a bunch of different tiles just like these, some characters, and then some other items as well that I think works great for the game we're making. So once you're here, go ahead, start the download process, extract all, and simply drag and drop into that art folder. With that, you should be all set, and we can begin. Alright, in this section, we're going to get started creating the main scene. First thing we'll do is create a new main scene node for our game. We're then going to adjust the camera/screen settings. After that, we'll go ahead and prepare the game's tile map layer node. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's get started. First thing we'll do is make sure we're in the 2D view. To do that, we're going to select the top button here. With that though, we can see the current screen size is best fit for a PC device, but the kind of game we're going to make is mostly going to be played on a mobile device. So let's adjust the screen size first. Let's go to Project on the top left, select Project Settings underneath. We're going to look for Window, which you can type in W, look for Display, and there it is, Window. Then we're going to adjust the viewport width and the viewport height, which represents that current block we have right there. So let's go ahead, adjust that. Viewport width we'll set to 720. And then viewport height we'll set to 1280. And this is pretty much the normal style we'll do for most mobile games. Once you have that in there, hit enter, and then hit close. Give it a few seconds, and this should readjust. As seen, this is more of a mobile style view now. Perfect. All right, next thing we'll do is go ahead and create our main scene node. Simple enough. On the top left, we'll select 2D scene. Then what we're going to do is rename it all lowercase main. And now this will go ahead and represent our main node, which is going to house all the other objects and other nodes inside of our game. Let's save what we got here though. It's going to ask us where we want to save it. Because this is a scene, we want to make sure we're saving it in the scenes folder. Let's select that and hit save. All right. So now next thing we'll do is prepare our tile map layers, which will go ahead and be kind of like the design for the map. So to do that, I'm going to house it in its own node. So let's right click on main, add child node, simply add a node 2D. I'm going to rename that node 2D simply as map because it's going to hold all the tile map layers. All right, now that we have our map, let's select it again, right click, add child node, and now we're going to add that tile map layer. Make sure it is the tile map layer, not the tile map. That is an old legacy node that's going to be removed eventually, so we always want to make sure to use the tile map layer. Go ahead, hit create. All right, now it's best thing to make these a unique name, so I'm going to call this tile map layer 1. For tile map layer 1 though, we eventually are going to duplicate it for the other ones, so we want to set everything we need for this. Starting off with, of course, a couple new tile sets. So currently it's set to empty. This is in the inspector. Let's select it, add a new tile set. All right, now we can go ahead and drag and drop in our tile set, which is in our art folder under Tiny Dungeon. Yours might be named differently, but ultimately we just want our tile map. All right, so once you find your tile map, it should be labeled as tilemap.png. Go ahead and take that, drag and drop it in right here. Once it does that, it's going to ask you if it automatically wants to cut the tiles. You're going to select no. Nice. All right. Now one thing I did notice with this tile map is it's a little small for the current screen size we have. You can test it out simply by going to one of the tiles and selecting them, such as this one here. And then go ahead into tile map. And then look for the little rectangle we have here. Make sure nothing else is selected. And then simply select our box. And if you go ahead and start creating the tile map, as you can see, it's a little small. So I'm going to Control Z that and adjust the size. What I like to do is just simply adjust the main node size. So we'll go ahead, select tile map layer 1, go to transform. And I'm going to set the scale instead of 1 to 5. And I've noticed this looks really good with this tile map. So now if you go ahead and start putting tiles down, it fits the game a little better. Let's go ahead and remove that real quick though. All right, next up is we need to add a couple settings to our tile set. Some for the borders, and then of course some for the navigation. To add it, the easiest way to do it is simply select the tile set we added right here, and then look for physics layers. This is going to be for the borders. Add a new element, and there we go. Now eventually we can add this in, which we'll do in the next couple sections. We could also add other ones in case we want only the player to be reactive to these ones or the enemies to the other ones, depending on the game we're making. But for now, we'll leave as is. The next thing we'll do, however, is add a navigation layer. Because we're going to have some automation with the player when they move around, we need to add a navigation layer to tell them, hey, this is a spot you can move around on. And we're going to do simply the same thing, just add a new element. And eventually we'll add that onto whatever tiles we want to represent it as the ground tiles. With that though, we should be set and all prepped. So let's go ahead, lower that down there, close some things up, recenter, save what we got, and we're looking good. In this section, we're going to get started creating the game's map. We'll start off and discuss the game's map plan. We'll then add tiles for every part of the plan map. Last but not least, we're going to ensure the correct collisions and navigation layers are added. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's discuss the map design. This here is going to be an example of the entire map we're going to create for our game. Starting off, of course, we'll have our players spawn in somewhere about here. And then, of course, we can navigate them anywhere inside this area. The player will obviously be able to collect different potions up here. And then once collected, we can have him drop off different potions at different areas, such as the drive-thru, or the left table, or the right table. Once they drop off the potions, if collected by a customer, they'll of course drive off. If not, however, the potion will simply smash on the ground, somewhere at the end over here, or somewhere else down here. Now customers, of course, will be able to come through different ways, obviously up here for the drive-thru, and then of course from the bottom as well for the table ones. To help out our player, we're also going to have a little ghost guy deliver potions somewhere down here, which will just be bouncing around. And with that, that'll be our game's map. Alright, let's begin creating our game's map. So as mentioned in the earlier section, we already set up majority of the things we need to start creating our map. Let's double check it real quick. If you go to Tile Map Layer 1, go ahead and make sure it is centered correctly. Sometimes this can get messed up in the initial process. As you can see, looks like it is up a little bit and to the left a little too much. We can simply fix that by going to Tile Set here, Setup, scroll down a bit, and you'll see this separation. In case your tile set ever has about a pixel or two of separation, just like this one, we can add that in here so it adjusts correctly. Let's add one for X, and then one for Y. And with that, it should be centered correctly. Looks great. Alright, next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and start painting our tile map now. Let's go back to Tile Map over here. Let's select the basic sand one here. Make sure you have rectangle, nothing else selected. And go ahead and do one outside of the entire little square we have. This works best just in case the screen size gets a little bigger. So now we have a nice base plate. Now one other cool thing we can do is we can randomize some little sand spots. So let's select that. Let's go ahead, select the random tile. And what I want to do is set this to 0.4. Okay. Once you do that, go ahead, highlight over, and it should randomly set more. Now it's up to you how much you want to put here. I think this is a little much, so I'm going to go ahead and raise it a bit. Let's go ahead and do 7. Go ahead, paste that in. A little less, maybe even more. Let's try 9. Control Z though to go back there. And go ahead and put it in. Now again, it's up to you how you want to design it. So far though, I think this looks pretty good. Let's keep it as is. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create another tile map layer. This one's going to be for the borders of the map. Now, I'm going to go ahead and simply select it, Control D, rename it as Tile Map Layer 2. Alright. One thing to make sure though, whenever you duplicate, it's also going to duplicate the current tiles. So what I like to do is go ahead and just get rid of everything we currently have for that one. Nice. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start adding some of the walls in. And eventually what we're going to do is add specific collisions. But for now, I just want to kind of outlay it perfectly. So let's go ahead to Tile Set, select all the different walls we're going to use, which are going to be a couple up here. We're going to need the base one here. We're going to need probably all the ones that go around. And then it's up to you, but you can add these ones as well. But I think we should be set with the ones here. All right, let's go ahead now and start placing them. Back to Tile Map, make sure we're on Tile Map Layer 2. And what we're going to do is we're first going to make the brown spots here. I'm going to do a little bit like this. And let's say we might put this one as a corner piece, but for now I'm going to keep it as is. Let's go ahead and add a couple here. And let's do some more there. And then like we did earlier, all the way down here and around. And again, it's up to you how you want to customize this, but I think this looks pretty good for now. All right, so now let's see. Let's actually take those two top ones away. So now we need the border part, which is going to be all these things here. So let's go ahead and add those in. I'm going to change these ones to this. And then we have the corner one. Of course, this one as well. Oops, make sure we have it correctly set. Other side as well. And let's see. We can go inward a little bit here with a corner. Then we can do the down one. And we'll go one more in. So I think we'll put that. Make sure we have the correct one, which I think is this one. There we go. Then we need the actual rock part, which is here. And I think we have a corner one we could use as well for that. If not, no worries. We can just make it go up. So we can go ahead and locate where that one is. I think it's just going to be this and that. So let's take that real quick. We want one that's technically more so with the sand, because as you can see, that doesn't look very good. So we need to add the correct sand one, which I think is these here. So if you need to add more in, just go ahead and select the other ones just like that. All right, let's go back to tile map. Let's add that there. Let's go ahead, go up a bit. And then the top one is going to be this one. Or whoops, it's going to be this one. Perfect. And I like to go all the way across just in case the screen size gets a little bigger than we expected. All right. And we also need this part here as well. Let's locate that. Should be one of these, like this one over here. Let's make sure to add that in. It's probably going to be this one or that one. We can try both. I think it is this one though. Perfect. All right, what else can we add? We can add some for here. So let's go ahead, add a couple more designs for this. We are going to need the other side one as well. Make sure to add that in. Let's add that there. And then of course we need to add these ones as well. And let's see. We can use, which one? There should be a top one here. Here we go. Nice. All right, and that looks like a nice border. Again, it's up to you how you want to design this, but I think this works really well because we're going to have this top part here for a minecart drive through, and then of course all the tables down here. Nice. But that'll be good for the wall one. Eventually we will add different collision shapes in here. What else we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, duplicate this again, call this one 3. Let's go ahead, remove everything we currently have. Just like that, nice. Let's also go ahead now and put in what we want for this. Now this is gonna be kind of like the tables and different boxes we have kind of bordering things. So let's add those in, go back to your tile set, locate the ones you wanna use. As mentioned, I'm gonna use tables, stools. I think there's a nice barrel we can use. And I think we can use a box for holding the potions. And with that, we should be set. So let's go ahead back to tile map. And then let's go ahead, start putting down things such as the tables. Make sure you have the correct one set. I'm also going to go ahead, go down a bit here. I'm actually going to make a little bit of them visible so we can see the splash spot. It's up to you how you want to do it. I think that should be okay. We can still see it like that. Let's go ahead, do the other one. Nice. Let's go ahead. Let's add some up here as well. Some more we could add as well. Let's do some barrels. This will be like the nice little border we have. And let's go ahead. This is where all the potions are going to be. We have 3 different types of potions, so we'll have 3 potion box makers. Then just last, the tools. So put one there. Let's do one here, 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 and then here. Same kind of thing down here. And then go ahead here as well. Now one thing to make sure also, I don't know if you can tell this, but sometimes they're a little fuzzy. How we can make them not fuzzy is go to texture and change that filter from inherit to nearest. And we'll do that for each one as well, just to help it look a little better with pixels. Make sure to do that for each one. Nice. And as you can see now, it looks a lot clearer. Perfect. All right. So now the next thing is pretty important. We're going to have to add now, of course, the collisions and then also the different types of navigation we want to use. Now, we don't need navigation for the customers. We're going to have them kind of following a direct line path, but the automation of the player, though, is going to need that, okay? So let's go ahead and create another one of these, tile map layer. I'm going to call this one, let's just call this one nav for navigation layers. Then we're going to go ahead, and what I'm simply going to do is remove everything we currently have. And next we're going to go ahead and pick out one tile we want to use for navigation. Now this doesn't necessarily matter because we're going to make this unique, okay? So let's go ahead on the tile set, right click, make unique. And then we're going to go ahead, make sure we have that navigation like we talked about earlier. Should look like this. And then we're going to pick one tile. And I'm just going to use the same stand tile. So in here, we're going to select it. Make sure it is selected. If it isn't, we're going to go to Paint. And now we're going to look for that navigation layer, okay? And then what we're going to do is make sure that we have that navigation layer on our tile. All right, perfect. Then what I like to do also is I like to make this one a specific color so we can tell it apart. So we go to Visibility, Modulate. Let's make it like a green. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to go to Tile Map. We're going to simply go ahead and start putting this where we want the player to be allowed to go. And I'm going to go ahead and just put it everywhere inside the tavern, okay? Yep, about here, here, and here. Awesome. So when we have our player built, they'll only be able to navigate on these spots, okay? Now, of course, we don't want it to look all green like this. So there's two ways you can handle this. One is we change this color or make it invisible. Or two, what I like to do is just turn the invisibility off. Now you may be worried that that's going to go ahead and turn off the ability for this to work, but the reason we know it will work is because we have the tile set to enabled on. So if we wanted to turn off the navigation, we would turn this off. But we can leave that on and still make it invisible and it will still work. Okay, so let's save that. All right, so the last thing we need to do for the map is create the borders, all right? And we can easily do that because all 1, 2, and 3 are sharing the same tile set. So let's go ahead to Tile Map Layer 1. And what we're going to do now, just like we did with navigation, is add those borders on these specific tiles. So if we go ahead back to Paint and make sure we're selecting the right one, let's go ahead back to Tile Set. We're on Paint. Make sure it's not covered that for navigation like we were earlier. What we're going to do now is find the physics layer. All right, and just like we did, we're going to add this now to all the ones we want to have borders, okay? So specifically the wall ones we want. So we're going to want ones like these and these as well. Also these ones up here. And then of course the table and the barrel. And yep, we can add the boxes too. We don't really want to worry about these ones here, but if we have the tables, the barrels, and then all the border walls, we should be okay. Now don't forget the ones here as well. We did end up using those. Nice. And how we can test to make sure that these are all the correct ones is we can save what we got. We can go ahead to Debugger and enable visible collision shapes, okay? And then we're going to go ahead, start current scene. And as you can see, we're now going to have all those collision shapes visible so we know we got the correct ones. Because again, we know our player can navigate or everywhere around here, but they don't want to go able through these things. Now, even though the navigation is not anywhere outside of that, we still want to add collisions just in case the player gets pushed. We don't want them to walk through or go through walls. But with that, we should be set. Looks great. All right, let's clean up some things we have, zoom in a bit, save what we got, and we're looking great. All right, in this section, we're going to go ahead and get started creating the game's UI. We're going to first discuss the game UI's plan. We're then going to add in a new UI canvas layer node with 2 pages. After that, we're going to create the in-game UI page and the in-store UI page. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's discuss the UI pages we're going to create. They're overall going to be pretty simple. Starting off here on the left side, this will be our in-game UI page. It's simply going to consist of the UI text for the current coin count. We're also then going to have a nice little button here we can use to open up the store page. Once the store page is opened up, you'll get this screen here. On the top, we'll have a nice little title, and then you're going to have 3 stat upgrade buttons, consisting of 1, the player speed, 2, the current potion creation speed, and 3, the ghost delivery speed. You're also then going to have a nice close button on the bottom. Now do note, every time you upgrade a stat, the price will increase. Now let's go ahead, jump right in, and get started creating it. All right, let's get started creating the UI for our game. Again, this is going to be a pretty simple UI, so it shouldn't take us too much time. Let's go ahead though and create a new node for this. Let's go ahead, right click on main, add child node, and we'll make the main node of this just a simple canvas layer. All right, again, the reason we're putting it in a canvas layer is just for the scaling of everything. So now let's go ahead and create a main node for each page, add child node, and we're going to use a simple control. Now the reason we want to use controls is because we can go ahead and set exactly where the scaling is. So down the road, if you change the type of game and maybe want it to be a different type of screen size, you can go to layout and then you can anchor it to anything like top left, top right, bottom right, or even center, any of that. But for now, we'll just keep it as is. All right, let's rename this one. This will be the in-game. So let's go ahead, do in-game. And then let's go ahead and create this one real quick. So in the in-game UI, we're going to right click, add child node, and we're going to make the main node of the buttons a simple color rect. And the reason we're doing this is just so we have a nice image background for it. And I'm going to go ahead and just simply put it on the left over here. It's up to you, whatever style you want, but I think this will be okay. Let's do about this big. We can always adjust it later. And we're going to simply go ahead and just give this a nice blue background, all right? So let's go ahead and change the color. Let's go ahead and do like a dark blue. Might go a little darker than that. Let's go ahead and do something like this. Nice. All right, we're also changing the name. Let's just call this text or coin text. And this one is not a button. It's just going to showcase the current coin text we have. So let's go ahead, add a label on it. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap it around. We're also going to center it up. Let's give it new label settings. Now for font, we need to, of course, give it some placeholder text. I'm just going to call this coins and then put a 0 there for now. Now it's a little small, as you can see. So let's go ahead, increase the size a bit. Let's do like 50. That might be too big, it might not be. We can also center it also the other way as well, just so it's in the middle. Now I think that might be a little too big, so let's go ahead and shrink it to 40. Maybe 45 to play it safe. Yep. Now if you want to go ahead and adjust it as well, I might actually, instead of calling it coins, we're just going to go ahead and just give it a $sign. But again, the style is completely up to you. I'm also going to give it a border. So let's give it a little outline border of black. And I like to do about 20% of it. So we're going to do like 15. Maybe a little bit more to make it look a little more bolded. Let's do 20. And then also change the color to a nice yellow. I think that matches the blue really well. All right. Now again, you can customize the style however you'd like. I might make it a little bigger just so it kind of fills out more. Let's go ahead and do 65 for that. And yeah, I like that. That looks pretty good to me. Again, you can always adjust that later. If you wanted to make it bigger, you can do that as well. It will scale with it as long as you match it up just like that. Nice. All right. So that's going to be our $amount for the coins. Now we're also going to have the button to click and open the shop, okay? So we have coin text here. Let's go ahead, Control D, change the name. We're going to call this shop button. And it is best to kind of keep everything labeled correctly. I'm actually going to start off every single one with lowercase and then only separate it with the uppercase. So let's change the other one to that as well. Nice. All right, so we have shop button here. Let's go ahead and just move this to the right. I'm just going to match it up with it. You can zoom in if you need to. No worries there. Let's see if that is on the line. It should be. I think so. We can always adjust it later if not. But yep, there we go. Let's also go ahead and change the label. So we don't want a $sign here. Instead, we're just going to have the word shop, uppercase S. Nice. Next thing we can also do then, if you want to, we can go ahead and add the actual button node to this now. This will be what we can attach the signal to actually open up the store page. So we're going to call this button shop. Okay, nice. Then we just need to go ahead and stretch this to the size of the shop. Nice, there we go. Make sure it matches each corner. We're also going to go ahead and get rid of this darken out fade it has. And what I like to do is I like to go all the way down here to theme under control. Go ahead and change that type to flat button. Now in the new Godot, they did change something where it shouldn't have the white box around it. If it does though, I know how we can fix that. Let's start current scene. So once we select this, there shouldn't be a white box. If there is a white box because you're using an older version of Godot, a simple way we can get rid of that is if you go to button here, and then you go all the way down to theme overrides, styles, and then there you go. So the normal one or pressed, you can go ahead and reset that with a new style box flat and just make it invisible. But that's if you're using an older version of Godot or if they bring it back in the newer versions. But so far we're looking good. All right, so we have shop button there. I like it. Now some more things we can do, and it's kind of up to you, is we can go ahead and create the next page. So we have in-game, and I'm going to keep the same one, so just duplicating it so we don't have to get rid of any of the colors or the size of the text. I'm also going to change the name of that main node. We're just going to call this shop page. And one thing I am going to adjust just while looking at it right here, I think that looks a little funny, is I think we're going to lower the main map node down just a little bit because I would like to see these buttons kind of in this part here. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to take our map main node here and I'm just going to lower it a little bit just so we can see kind of like the parts there. All right, nice. And if we also wanted to, it's kind of up to you, but we could move these tables and things up just one row. I think in my version of it, we do have it adjusted. So if you wanted to do that to see more of the splash spot, we could. That's a simple little fix. But again, this is just up to you, style preferences, okay? But an easy way to do that would just simply be to kind of highlight what we need. We know this one should be all the tables and stuff, so I'm going to move that up just like that. But again, that's completely up to you based on the style you like. But I think this looks a little better, just so we can see that top part. All right, but back again to the shop page. We know we have this now. Now, one thing I like to do with shop pages is I like to kind of remove everything out from here. And an easy way to do that is by adding something called a panel. So let's go ahead and add a new panel. This is just going to block out any other UI clicking behind it. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to write above right there. I'm going to stretch it out to fit the entire screen. And I like to go a little bit beyond as well. But with that, we'll go ahead and put that on the top, okay? So now if any buttons are in here, they'll be in front and we can select those. All right, let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to remove this one here. We don't need the coin text anymore. It is up to you though of what you want to do with that. Again, what I like to do is it's already visible back here, so I kind of am just going to keep it. Maybe if you wanted to add it and still there, you could do that, but I think for now it'll look okay. But let's take that shop button we have, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like stretch this to be the main page, okay? So I'm going to take that and put it about there. Let's center it up a bit. Make sure it's centered in the middle of the screen. We might need to go a little bit over. Let's go ahead and I'm going to lower it just a little bit more. about there, okay? And again, it's up to you about the style. We can also center it more later on, but I think this should be okay. Yep, I think that's all right. All right, yep, looks good to me. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we can give it a nice title to say, hey, we're in the shop. And what we're gonna do with that is I'm just gonna take our label here. I'm gonna center it up. And let's put it right about here. And let's go ahead and duplicate this label as well because we're gonna reuse that same text size and everything. But for the main one here, let's go ahead, change the name. So label title. Let's go ahead, make this a unique one so we can change it without affecting the other ones. Make unique. Select it. Go to font. I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. I think it'll look a lot nicer. Let's do 85. You can even go larger if you want. I'm going to do 95 actually. And then I also increase the outline. Let's increase that to 30. Maybe even 35 will look better. Yep, I like that. All right. Now for this other label we'll reuse this for the other buttons we're going to create. I'm going to lower it down for now. But yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Nice. All right. So now let's go ahead and create the other buttons we need. So we're going to need one for the player speed upgrade. We're going to need one for the ghost speed upgrade. And then also another for the ghost potion upgrade. All right. All right. So let's go ahead. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the actual color we have. And we just want to duplicate it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, duplicate that. Change the name of this. So we have shop button. We have shop page. Now this one I'm going to change to background. So we can do shop BG for background. I'm also going to duplicate and remove what we need here. Let's get rid of that. We also don't need the button. We will leave the text in there. I think that'll be okay. But we're going to change this other one here. Let's call this one simply the player speed button. So player speed button. We can even leave it as B for short, for button. Nice. All right, so let's remove the title text in there. We don't need that. Label 2, I'm just gonna call it label so we don't get confused. Now the button, we'll just call this button player S for speed upgrade. All right, and then we just need to adjust the size. So first thing we'll do is take the size of it. I'm gonna lower it down. Let's put it like somewhere like here. Again, the style is completely up to you, but I am gonna take it about there and then try to match it up best I can. We can recenter it later. I think that looks pretty good for now though. Yep, maybe a little bit more to the left. Nice, all right. Then we're gonna go ahead, match this. If you hold down Control, it should click into it. But if you need to see the actual box, we're gonna change the color anyway. So let's take that player speed B, and I'm just simply gonna darken it just a little bit. Again, style is completely up to you. You could make this all red, you could make this all orange, it doesn't really matter. But let's go ahead and now wrap around the button, which we did that perfect, make sure it matches. Then we need to go ahead, place the text, so same thing. I'm gonna take it while holding down Control. Get the other corner as well. Nice. All right, now we need to go ahead, put in the correct text. Let's just call this player speed. And if the text is too big, we can always shrink it. And I'm gonna set this to a base price of like $5. Nice, okay. But as you can see though, the size is a little too big for the button. Now one, we could either make the UI bigger or just shrink the text. I think I'm gonna shrink the text. So let's make this unique as well, so it doesn't change anything else. We're gonna simply go ahead, locate font, shrink that just a bit. Let's do 45. Nice. That should be good enough. Even if this price goes up a bit, we should still be able to see it. If you want to play it safe though, you could even go to 40. I think that's a little too small though, so I am gonna leave it at 45, okay? Nice. Yeah, the one worry I have is if this price goes to in the hundreds, we can double check it though by adding 2 zeros. But it looks like it'll be okay. Nice. All right, but we'll keep it at 5 for now. We'll leave as is. So we have player speed, button player S for speed upgrade. Let's go ahead and make the other ones. Control D. Bring this down a bit. Let's go about there. Maybe up a little bit more. Nice. All right. Now this one here, this one's going to be for the ghost speed. So let's go ahead, Ghost speed. Remember lowercase in the beginning. Ghost speed. B for button. All right, then we're going to go ahead, change the text in here to ghost speed instead of player speed. Ghost speed. And then here, remember to make this unique as well. This time, ghost S for speed button. Perfect. All right, nice. All right, so we have that there. Everything's correct there. Let's do the next one. Let's go ahead, Control D. Now this one should be the ghost potion button. So ghost potion. I know we changed it up a bit. I think our regular potions are going to always spawn at different ones, but these ones here are just going to change. So basically our little ghost guy that jumps around will go ahead and generate those potions faster and faster based on the upgrade. And I think this works a little better. Let's go ahead though and do this. Ghost potion speed. Or we could just do ghost potion B. We don't need to put the whole thing in. There's only 3 options anyway. Let's go ahead though and take that, move it down below, make sure it's about the same distance as the one above it. You might need to zoom in so you can see it a little better. If you want to be like super on point with it though, you can go into the transform under layout. So layout, transform, and you can find the actual X and Y position and then go ahead and calculate it. But from a distance, I think it looks okay. We might adjust it later in the bug fix at the end. But for now, I think that's all right. All right, so you have Ghost Potion B. Let's change the label to match up. So Ghost Potion. Nice. Make sure we can fit the whole thing. Looks like we can. Nice. Also go ahead, make sure this button is unique as well. So Ghost Speed, so Ghost P. Nice. All right. Now we just need one more button, which is going to be the cancel or close button. I'm going to call it the close button so we can close out of the shop. All right. So again, I'm going to take one of our current ones, the one below, change this. Let's just call this close shop B. And I think what we're going to have to do is kind of push these all up a bit just so we can fit everything in here. Again, it's up to you how the style is, but I think what we'll do is just give it a little bit more space to look more natural. And what I like to do for these ones is specifically make them a little smaller, because right now it just looks like another option for a stat upgrade. So I think what we'll do is we're going to shrink it just a little bit. So again, I'm going to take this and we're going to go about this much smaller. And let's readjust everything else inside of it. One more over here. And then of course change the label to close. And then readjust the entire button to center it up. Nice. And with that, we should be looking good. I like it. Again, it's up to you what the style is. If you want to move them all up a little bit more, you can do that too. Easy way to do that is just hold down Control, select each button, and then simply just go ahead and move them all up. I might do that just to add a little bit more room below so it looks a little bit more natural, just like that. Nice. Now don't forget though, we also need to change the button name because each one of these is going to have a unique signal. So again, we'll do just button close. Nice. And there we go. All right. Looks great. So here we go. We got our shop page, which always is going to be turned off on start. And then of course our in-game UI. So far though, it looks great. Again, you can make the style look like whatever you want, but I think for now we're looking good. Let's save what we got. All right, in this section, we're going to create our global script. As you know, a global script is a great way to share variables between all the other scripts in our project. The first thing we'll do is start off creating that global script. We'll then add some variables that we can use to track the current timers and character stats. We'll also add some variables to track the current coin count, shop stat costs, and customer available spots. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's get started creating that global script. So how we're going to go about doing that is simply go up to the project settings, go to globals. Once you're in globals, we need to give it a name. So I'm going to go ahead and just call it all lowercase global. Go ahead now and add that in. Make sure we're saving this in the script. So go ahead to folders, scripts, and then hit open. And there you go, create it up. Now to open it up though, you're going to hit this little folder button next to enabled. And here we go, here's our global script. All right, so let's add in a couple variables here. Starting off with a simple var, and this will be for one of our timers, green underscore time, colon, simple float equals 4.0. Now the reason we're tracking this is because some other things are going to depend on these. So we'll have one for the green potion, one for the red, and one for the blue. So let's make a float for each one. So green, red, and blue. All right. Now we're also going to have some for the stats. So what I'm going to do is just copy our whole line here, paste it below. Again, these are going to be floats also, but this one here on the top is going to be our player underscore speed, which by default, we can always adjust this later, is going to be 600.0. We're also going to have our ghost speed. So ghost underscore speed float equals 150 base. Again, we can always adjust that later. The last stat, of course, is the ghost potion speed. So ghost underscore potion underscore speed. And I'm going to leave that at 4, just like our other ones up here. Nice. All right, a couple more variables to go. We're also going to have another variable. We're going to call this players underscore potion. It's going to be a string because we're going to be changing this from red, blue, green. By default, though, we want to leave it as none. Now, we could also use null for this, but I like to leave it as none. All right, next thing we're going to track, of course, is our coins. So let's go ahead, var coins. There we go. And this was just going to be a simple int, and we'll start this off at 0. All right, next up, we'll have the current spots for the customers. Pretty simple, this will be a little array. So we'll go ahead, call this current underscore spots. And this will go ahead, capital A array equals, and it will be a simple array of arrays. And we'll do, of course, one for 0, another for 0, and then another for 0, and then one more for 0. And I'll explain this in just 1 second once we get it all in there. So the reason we're doing this is because we have an array value for each one. If we go back to our game, you're going to see all these tables. So for some of them, they're going to have 3 available spots. For some, only 2. But the reason we have 4 overall is because each line here is going to be one of these values. We'll have a different mechanism for the drive-through because there's only going to be one at a time. All right, let's put in the last variables. We're going to have another one for player underscore speed underscore cost. As you can tell, this is going to be the shop upgrade costs, which we're going to always equal as a base 5 for each. So let's copy this whole thing so we don't need to type it all out again. Paste it twice below. The next one is going to be the ghost speed cost. So let's change the name. And then the last one is the ghost potion speed cost. So again, ghost underscore potion speed cost. And there we go. That's going to be everything for our global script. Make sure you have all that in there. Save what you got there. Let's go back to 2D view, and we're looking good. I really hope you enjoyed the free module, but if you'd like to continue, you'll have to go ahead and navigate to my official website at redfoolstudio.com/game development. From there, you can go ahead and select the intermediate course and then get full access to the entire course itself. Hope to see you there. Before we start the project, I just want to remind you this is the free module, so you will get a taste of the project we're going to make and also my teaching style. If you'd like to continue the full project, you will have to go to my official website at redfoolstudio.com/game development. The links will be in the description. Now let's get started. In this project, we will be creating a top-down pixelated dungeon game. You can play the game for free at the link below. During this game's development, we will learn how to create a customized character to explore deep into a mine. Throughout their journey, they will gain XP to level up and collect items to help them on their quest. Some of the new features we will learn how to implement are level tracking, random map generation, and in-game difficulty increases. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, in this section, we're going to set up everything we need for our mining dungeon game. First thing we'll do is create a new Godot project. We'll then go ahead and add all the folders for the art, components, data, scenes, and scripts. Last thing we'll do is make sure to import all the assets we'll be using, such as some for the music, sound effects audio, character sprites, and also dungeon asset sprites. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, I went ahead and created a new Godot project. First thing we'll do is make sure that we're in the 2D view. So let's go ahead on the top and select 2D. From there, we're going to go ahead and adjust some settings real quick. Overall though, we can leave the screen the same size because this is more of a PC style game. We are though going to go to Project, Project Settings, type in W for window, under display you can select it, and we'll go ahead and scroll on down to the stretch, and for this mode we're going to change it from disabled to viewport, okay? Alright, we'll go ahead and close that. Next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and create a couple folders. So let's right click, create new, folder. The first one will be art. Let's also change the color. Right click on it, set color, and set to red. Let's add some more. Right click, create new, folder. This one will be components. I'm going to change this color to yellow. Let's do another. Right click, create new, folder. I'm going to call this data. And let's set it to an orange color. Next up, let's right click, create new, folder. Let's call this scenes. And I'm going to make this a purple. Right click on it, set color, purple. One more to go for the scripts. Let's right click, create new, folder, scripts. And I'm going to make this color green. Alright, we should be good with the folders there. Now remember, once we download those asset packs we're going to use, we're going to want to put every single one of those in the art folder, such as the sprite pack, the music pack, and also the audio pack for sound effects. So far we're looking good. Let's save what we got. Next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and download all the different asset packs we're going to use for this game. As listed in the slide before, we're going to have 4 different ones. This one here is going to be for the dungeon asset pack. This is going to have all the different terrain we need to build our different maps. It's going to look like this. It's located at kenny.nl/assets/roguelike-ks-dungeons. So once here, go ahead and begin the download process. Make sure to extract all from the zip and drag and drop it into our art folder. The next one we'll do is going to be for the characters. It's also going to be located at kenny.nl. It's going to be called roguelike characters. So go ahead, type in this URL here. It'll look like something here. A bunch of different character sprites we can use. But just as you did before, go ahead to download. Once downloaded, extract all and drag and drop into our art folder. One more to go at this site. This is going to be for the sound effects of the game, okay? Again, this is at kenny.nl. It's going to be called RPG-audio. Once here, you're going to do the exact same thing. Download, extract all, drag and drop into our art folder. Last one to go is going to be this one here. This is going to have our music tracks. Again, you're always welcome to use any type of music you want. This one's going to be located at hunteraudio.itch.io/8bit-sfx-and-music-pack. All right, it's going to look like this. Go ahead then, download it, and drag and drop in what we're going to use, okay? Which again is going to be a couple different music tracks. With that, you should be all set. Alright, in this section, we're going to get started creating the menu scene for our game. We're going to start off and discuss the menu scene being created. We'll then add a new main node to hold the menu scene. After that, we'll ensure the menu scene has a nice background image and a title displaying. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's go ahead and discuss the menu scene that we're going to create. Now this scene is going to be pretty simple overall. It's basically going to be our default map that we spawn in at, and then can go ahead and continue down the dungeon floor. Now in this scene, we're also going to eventually be able to customize our character with the different character base, character class, and character weapon. For now though, we're mainly just going to focus on the scene itself with a couple tile map layers, and then also of course our nice little title and a play button. Let's jump in and get started. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we'll do is create a new main scene. So we'll go ahead, select 2D scene for that. We'll then go ahead and rename it as all lowercase main. From there, like we always do, we'll go ahead and save that scene, Control S, and make sure to save it in your scenes folder. Alright, save that there. Awesome. Alright, so the next thing we'll do is get started creating that menu. So we're going to right click on main, add child node, select node 2D, and then go ahead and change it to all lowercase menu. Now, throughout the next couple sections, we're going to go ahead and add in a bunch of different pages, such as the background one, play game one, selecting character, and then of course customizing the character class and weapon. But we're going to start off with the first two, which is going to be the background, and then also the play game one. So let's go ahead, right click on menu, add child node, add another node 2D. This will be the first one, which is going to be background, which I'm going to call it BG. Then we'll add some things such as some tile map layers to give it a nice little background. Now again, you can customize this however you want, but I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and you can copy me if you want. We just want something really simple that kind of outlays what the game's going to look like. So let's right click on background, add child node, and we're going to add a tile map layer, okay? Make sure it's this one here, the newer one. Add that in. All right. From there, let's add the texture we want to use. So we're going to go to the tile set here, click on empty, add a new tile set. Then we'll drag and drop in the little texture sprite sheet. So let's go to art and locate the correct one, which should be the Kenny Caves and Dungeons one here. Your name might be different, that's okay. Open that up, locate the sprite sheet, and then drag and drop in the transparent one, okay? Let's drag and drop it in. Now make sure to select no here. We're going to customize it ourselves. But we are going to have to adjust some things because as you can tell, looks like there's some spacing between it, which is messing it up down the road. So what we're going to do is make sure to add some separation. I think it's about 1 pixel for X and Y. So let's try that. So we're in setup for it, scroll on down to separation, and go ahead and add 1 for X and Y. Again, we might need to adjust this more, but let's see, because I think this should be okay. And you can check by going to one of the ones farther down and just make sure that it's surrounding the whole thing, which it is. Nice. All right. Yep, if you ever have any issues with separation for your sprite sheets, you can always adjust it with separation or margins, all this fun stuff here, okay? But let's go ahead and add in a couple ones we want to use. And I'm just going to make it really simple. So we're going to add in a nice little dirt patch. So let's do like this one here. And let's use some walls. So let's do probably one of these because we're going to go across. So let's do that one there, there. And then the ones that kind of go around, all the corner ones. And the ones that go side to side. Again, it's up to you. We're also going to get the middle wall one, which I think is this one here. Maybe we'll throw in some cracks on the wall as well. And also some little coal. And let's see, we have one crack there. We can do a lighter crack as well. Again, it's up to you what you want to do, but I think that should be okay. Eventually we'll add some physics layers to all this stuff, but for now it should be okay. We'll also add a nice little waterfall effect as well. So let's go ahead and add in some waterfall, just like that. And then also this here as well. I think we have one where it splashes down, which is that one. With that though, I think we should be okay. All right. And again, we can always add more in if we need more, but I think with that we'll be fine. Nice. All right, so we can get started actually designing it now. All right, so let's go ahead to tile map. Let's go ahead and have this one here. It's up to you if you want to give it a unique name. I might call it tile map layer 1. And then we'll rename the other ones as we go down. But first thing we'll do is add a nice little ground. So let's go ahead. Now one other thing we could do as well is, as you can see, the texturing is a little small, I'd say. Let me double check what I did on mine, which I think worked really well. I think I did a little bit bigger. I must have done like a 3, so let's select it. And you can go to transform, and I'm just gonna scale it up a bit, again to like 3, okay? Nice. And I'm gonna erase this and redo it real quick. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's do something like there. Again, it's completely up to you how you want to do it, but I think this will be okay for what we're working with. We're going to go up a little bit, probably about like there. And let's see, we want to make sure that it's pretty centered. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 there. We have 3 on that side. Let's go ahead and do that there. Nice. If you want to move the whole thing to the left a little bit, you can as well. Just use the nice little tool here to select all the boxes and move it over a bit. Nice, and that should be okay, nice and centered. All right, next thing we'll do is start adding in the walls around everything. All right, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna keep this as the base one on 1. If you wanted to add some other different dirt patches on the ground, you can. But then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take that tile map layer 1, Control D, change the name to tile map layer 2, and then go ahead, start from scratch with it. All right, for this one here, we should still have all the selectors here. So I'm gonna start adding some of the walls in. So we have this here for the base wall. Let's go ahead and add that where we need it. So I'm gonna take my tool here and let's see, let's do downward a little bit there and then over here as well. And I think we need to go up a bit. So maybe let's do like this. And let me see what I did. I think I did a pretty good job like that. Nice. I might move this whole thing down a little bit later, but I think for now this is okay. Do we need any on the other one? We might need some going across here to match up what we originally want. But with that, I think we're looking good. So if you want to at this one as well, we can start adding some other stuff in, such as maybe the little border, which is this. So let's see how that looks. Yep. So we could go ahead and add this going to there. Now I think this isn't really a lot of room, so I might actually move that down a bit. So what you can do is just go ahead, like we've done before, use the pointer tool, go down like that, nice, and then continue on. So we have it there. We also need, of course, this here on the top as well. So let's go ahead and do it like that. And then here, and then here. Let's see what else we need. We're gonna need, of course, the ones that turn in and out. So let's go ahead and do it there, here, here, and here. Same thing on the roof as well. We'll go there. And then, yep, right there. And I think we did, if we didn't do the up and down one, that's okay. We're just gonna select it. It's gonna be this one here. So I'm gonna go back to tile set, select the one we need. Should be that one. Let's go ahead, back to tile map, paste that in to where we need it. Make sure we have the right one selected. There we go, nice. And then of course down here as well. And here, nice, okay. And again, we could add some here and here. Looks pretty good to me there, I like it. Nice, all right, what else? So far that looks pretty good to me. We do have edge ones we could add too. If you really want to do that, that's up to you. I think they are these ones. That might make this look a little better, and this. So again, if you want to add those in, I'm going to add those in here and here. Let's go ahead, do one there, and there as well. And then the other one as well. Nice, awesome. And I might even go down one more here because I think this looks a little silly if we don't. Just like that. Okay, nice. All right, then we need the corners here as well. And I think that one should be good. All right, look at that. Looks very good. All right, the other things we could do obviously is add a little touch up. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of things to the walls. Again, this is completely up to you. If you like it, you can add it. If not, no worries. I'm just gonna add some there. And then maybe some coal like over here. And then let's do one here, and then another one of the wall cracks like over here. Nice, and that looks pretty cool. Looks very natural, all right? Good, okay. And let's see, yep, I like it. Okay, what else could we do? It's kind of up to you. I think it's a little big, to be honest. So I might actually get rid of that bottom one here and then recenter it a little bit. So I might actually take, let's take both of these. And I'm going to move it down just a little bit. Okay. Like there. Nice. Yep. And then we'll do another layer. We'll do one for the water now. So let's go ahead. This one will be number 3. Nice. And let's go ahead. We have number 3 here. We'll do this for the water. We need to start it from scratch though. So go ahead, get rid of what we got. And then we're going to go ahead, start making this little water thing. This just kind of adds a little bit of life to it, I like personally. Again, it's always up to you if you want to have this or not, no worries. Let's do, yep, all the way across till we get to the same one. And with that, we should be good there. Let's add some water stuff here. And then, of course, we can start the waterfall effect. So we'll do, let's see, I think what I did was I didn't have the middle one. I had the 2 going across like this and like that. And then what you can do is just kind of go up like this and up like this. Nice. And with that, looks a little natural to me. Again, it's up to you if you want to do that or not. I think it looks pretty good. I might even go higher up just in case you end up making the camera of the player move around with them. We don't want things just kind of floating there. But with that, I think that looks pretty good for our start area. You can always customize it how you want. One thing extra I would recommend doing though, well, one is using the correct waterfall. This one looks kind of ripply. We could use this one, I think, instead to make it look a little more smooth. And then add this one here towards the bottom. That has more of the bubbles on the bottom. All right, but with that, you can also go ahead and make this a little more clear. If we go to the texture, change all of the filters to nearest, and we're going to do that for each one. And one more. Nice. And with that, it looks a lot clearer. Awesome. And of course, there's a lot of other things you could do. You could add some animations for this. You could add some animations for the dirt and everything as well. But again, that's kind of just up to you. One other thing I guess you could add, if you want to make this look a little bit better, is add the little ripple spots on the bottom of these. It's up to you again. They have a block for that. I think it's like over here somewhere. Let's double check. Yep, these little ground ones might make it look a little bit more natural. But I think it kind of looks good here, but I think over here you could add them. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of get the middle one. Go to this. And then go ahead and you can put those in there. And yep, that's going to overlap that though, which is the problem. But depends if you like it. You can do the corner one if you wanted. But as I was saying, I think that looks okay on the top part, but the bottom part, I'm going to keep it as is, like this, okay? Yep. And to do that, let's go ahead and yeah, let's just add another one in towards the top like that. Yep. But with that, I think it looks pretty good. Nice. All right. So those are going to be our tile map layers. Eventually, though, we'll go ahead and we'll start adding kind of like collisions to it and possibly even navigation paths. But with that, I think that looks good. Now we also need the play game area with the title screen and the play button. So let's go ahead and create a new one of these. We'll keep background. That's always going to be present. But we're going to go ahead, right click, add child node, add a simple node TD, and we're going to call this play screen. Or better yet, you could call it play game. All right, play game. And what we're going to add in here again is just a title screen and also a play game button. So let's right click, add child node. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, get a label for the title. I'm going to go ahead and stretch this to the screen size. If you want to match it up perfectly, you could zoom in there. All right. And what we're going to do is give it the name, call it mining dungeon. All right. We'll center it up a bit. And let's go ahead, add a new label settings, give it a bit of a bigger font. Let's see what like 70 looks like. A little bigger might look better. Let's do 90. Yep, that's pretty good. Let's change the base color to a nice yellow and then give it a nice black outline. Nice. And then go ahead, do something like a 30. And there we go. There's our title. Okay, nice. All right. And you can give it a specific label name here, like label title. All right, then we'll create the play game button. Super simple. We've done this before. Let's right click, add child node, and we're going to go ahead, create a new node 2D for this. Call this play button. And we're going to keep the same theme of the other UI in the last section. So let's right click, add child node, and we're going to go ahead, use a color rect. And I'm going to do, let's do about like, yeah, like that big. Let's make this one black. And let's go ahead, change the name to BG for background, duplicate BG, drag and drop it in, and then let's give it a nice dark blue color, kind of like we've been doing. We'll go a little bit darker than that, like that should be good to kind of match the theme. Nice. And then let's go ahead, give it the nice border. And again, you can always make this however you like. If you wanted to use your own sprites for it, you can as well. I'm just going to do this a very simple way, just so we didn't have to go ahead and use any other assets than ones we have. But I think with that, we'll be okay. All right. Again, if you wanted to make it a little bit more centered, you can. That's up to you. But I think that's all right. Nice. All right. So we have this play button. Let's move this kind of like right below the middle. We can use the waterfall to know where the middle is. And I'm going to put it like, let's go like right there, maybe a little higher. Let's go ahead and now give it a nice label. Let's right click, add child node. Let's add another label. Let's make sure this is surrounding the entire button. Let's go ahead, put the word play. Center everything up. Go ahead, give it a new label settings. Change the base color font to a nice yellow. Increase it. Let's do like 40. Maybe a little bigger. Let's do 45. That's too big. Let's go back to 40. I'm just worried about the Y hitting the little bottom part there. But let's go ahead and give an outline as well. Let's do like a 13 for the outline. Change it to black. Double check it. Let's see how that looks. I think that's okay. Nice. Again, you can always customize that how you want, but I think that looks great. All right, next thing we'll do is right click, add child node. We're going to add the actual button node itself. Now, very important, make sure to make this unique name, button play game, okay? Because we're going to have a lot of buttons in here connecting to the menu script eventually. So it's best practice to make sure those are not all the same name. Okay, nice. So we're going to go ahead, surround it like that. And then also go ahead, change the theme of the button from type variant of nothing to flat button, okay? And then if you have an older version of Godot, you might need to adjust the selecting ability. They recently changed that. Like if you have a white rim around the button, you can change that by theme overrides and going to styles. And then here you go. You can change all the different button status symbols. But I think the default, they did get rid of it. So we should be okay. We can test this out real quick. Control save, start current scene. It's going to ask you, nope, it'll ask you which current scene you want to be the start if you hit the regular play. But if you hit current, it's just going to start the current one open on the left. But let's test out that button. Yep, looks good to me. Nice. All right, so this is going to be our starting play game scene, okay, with the nice title and the play game button. So let's go ahead and close out of there. Close this up here. Close up here. Center things up a bit. And save what you got. All right, in this section, we're going to go ahead and get started creating the character selection scene. We'll start off and discuss each character scene being created. We'll then add a new main node for each character scene with all the correct character images. After that, we'll ensure each character option has a unique button name that's going to go back and connect to the main script. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. This here represents all the different character selection scenes we're going to be creating. There's ultimately going to be 3 different ones. The hero one, the class one, and also the main weapon one. When we first start the game, we'll always be brought to this one here for selecting the current hero you want to be. Once you select them, you'll be then brought over to this one here, which is for the class selection. Now the class selection is going to be represented by the armor that you wear as the hero. The last one, of course, is going to be the main weapon you carry as the hero. Now, the only 2 that primarily affect the gameplay is going to be the class and the main weapon. Each one will give a certain bonus to the player throughout the game. Now let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's get started creating all the different character selection pages we need. Okay, so currently we have the play game one here, but we're going to need 3 more now. Okay. So let's go ahead and take our current one, which is the play game one, Control D. Then we'll change the main name. So I'm going to call this select hero. All right. Now we'll need to change a couple things in here. First thing is the actual title. We still want a title for this, but let's go ahead and change it to the appropriate text. I'm going to go ahead and just change this to choose hero. All right. Nice. I'm also going to shrink it just a little bit and lower it. So let's go ahead and make this a unique label setting. So right click on it, make unique, select it, and then go ahead, go to font, and let's just decrease it just a little bit, maybe to 55. And then go ahead and decrease the outline as well. I'm going to change that to 24, okay? Nice. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead, move that down just a bit. Now remember, when we change pages, the other one will turn off, so we won't be able to see that. So it'll be right here. It's up to you how you want to position it. I think this will be okay though. All right, next things we'll do is also have 3 buttons, okay? We need a button for each different one, all right? So we're gonna have 3 different heroes, so let's go ahead and change this button name right here to, let's call this hero button 1. And then we're going to go ahead, position it correctly. We're actually going to keep one here as the middle one, but I like to go ahead and lower these just a little bit. So we have our hero 1 right here. I'm going to go ahead, lower that down with the green arrow. There we go. Let's do it there. And then let's go ahead and make the other one. So we have hero button 1. I'm going to call this hero button 2. And don't forget, we also need to match these to the actual ones here. We need all the buttons to have a unique name. So I'm going to do it for 2 and then go back to the 1. So button hero. This is 2, so button hero 2. I'm also going to copy that name so I can paste it in for the one above. So there's that one. We also need to make sure this name is unique as well. Make sure it is 1 for this one. And then for that 1, I'm going to go ahead now and actually just move it to the left a bit. Now make sure though you're holding on to the main node so you can move everything inside of it. And I'm going to keep it above, but just a little bit lower, okay? Let's go about there, all right? Nice. Okay, and again, it's up to you how you want to organize this. I think this is okay here. That's fine. Let's also go ahead, though, and give it the correct text. So I'm going to give them just 3 different names. The one right here, I'm going to go ahead and make this just called Anna. There we go. The middle one, I'm going to do Frank. So let's go ahead and make this the second hero's name. Now we just need one for the third. So I'm going to take that button 1 because we know it's on the correct position. Duplicate that. Let's change the name to 3. Position it correctly in here. I'm going to put it right below there. And then also don't forget to change the name to button hero 3. All right. Nice. Oops, did I do the right one? Looks like I think I put it inside by accident. Let's see. There's button hero 3. Let's reposition that. And there we go. Change the name correctly. So button hero 3. All right, nice. All right, with that, we're set there. Okay, so then from there, I'm going to move this to the right a little bit, about the same positioning as the other one. Don't forget, though, to move the entire node, just like that. Awesome. And if you need to center a little better, you can zoom in. You can also calculate it with the transform of X and Y as well. But I think this will be okay. All right. Don't forget to change the name, though. Let's call this one Billy. Just like that. Nice. All right. And again, let's double check that it's positioned correctly. I think it is. Yeah, that's okay. All right. Looks good to me. All right. So we have our 3 buttons. They all have unique names, unique node names as well. We have our little title here. Now we just need the actual images, okay? And I'm actually going to put that inside of them as well. Now, the easiest way I found to do this is actually just right-click, add child node on them, and we're going to add an animated sprite 2D. Now, normally you wouldn't want to use this, but because, though, we're going to be using kind of like a sprite sheet of it, this is the best way to do it. All right, so I'm going to add one of those in there. We're going to create a new sprite frames. Then we're going to go ahead and look for the one we want to use. This is the first one here. So let's go ahead and open this up. Locate the one we want to use, which we know is the characters one. Go ahead, locate the sprite sheet, use the transparent one, open that up. All right. Now, next thing we need to do is make sure it's cropped correctly. Now, this one has a little bit of a weird cropping. I don't actually think it's 16 by 16. I think it's like 16 by 17, so it gets kind of cut off at the bottom. You'll see it here. See how it's like kind of cut off? So we might need to add either some separation or something else. So let me zoom in a bit just so I can see things a little better. All right, so I think there is 1 pixel of separation. That's why it's not moving correctly. So we need to add that over here. Okay, so we add 1 for X. And then let's do 1 for Y. Right there. All right, and with that, I think it is going to be cropped correctly. All right. Looks like it is. Nice. All right, so make sure you have that in there and then select the character you want to use. For this one, I'm going to select here. All right, and now we just need to organize the basically height and scale because it's a little small and a little blurry. So let's go ahead to the texture to make it less blurry. Go to nearest, and then also for transform, let's see, I think maybe 5 X and Y will be a good size. Let's double check that. Yep, I think that looks okay. So let's also take it and position it correctly, like right above, not too high though. About there's okay. Perfect. All right, so that's going to be our first hero. Okay, so now we just need 1 for all the others. So I'm going to take that one, Control D, drag and drop it into button 2. Then we can go ahead and position it correctly right above. Then we're going to change this so we don't change the other one as well. Let's go ahead and make this unique. So right click on sprite frame, make unique, and then we're going to remove the current one we have and add in a new one. All right. And I'm going to go ahead. Let's go back into there. Same stats. That's good. Let's pick another character. I'm going to use this guy here for this one. Let's add that in. And there we go. All right. Nice. If you want to clean the name up, you can. Just remove the 2 and hit enter. Let's do the next one. let's go ahead, take that, Control D, drag and drop into button 3. And let's go ahead, clean the name up, and then position it correctly. An easy way to do this is actually just realign it with the one we had here. And then we can just move it on over. Or of course you can go to the X and Y. I'm going to do this though, move it over there, and then center it up nice and neat. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead, make this unique as well. Remove the current one, add in a new one. Go ahead, pick out one you want to use. I'm going to use this one here, and just like that. All right, and those are our 3 heroes, Anna, Frank, and Billy. Nice. All right, looks good there. Let's go ahead and do the next pages now. Luckily, since we got this all set up, it's pretty easy. We're just going to change out sprites and of course change names as well. But let's go ahead and we're going to take select hero. Let's Control D that. And let's go ahead, turn off the original one. And then we're going to change this. So we're going to keep select, but we're going to do select class now. All right. All right. We got the class there. Perfect. So now we need to go ahead, change the title and say choose class. All right. Then you guessed it, we can go ahead and change the buttons. Now let's go ahead and actually change each one's title name. So we have hero button 1. So we're going to go ahead and do class here. So class button 1. And then let's do it here. Class button 2. And then class button 3. Okay. Now don't forget though, most important thing is we got to make sure those buttons have unique names inside. All right. So we have here, make sure you change that as well. All right. I'm going to do class 1. And then I'm going to go ahead, same thing here. Class. Oops, there we go. I have caps lock on, there we go. Class 2. And then let's do the next one. Class 3. All right. Nice. Perfect. All right. Then of course we can change the actual sprites we have on there. So for the first one, let's go ahead, take that here, make this unique again, remove the current, add in a new one, make sure stats are the same. Now for this one, I'm going to make it the knight. So we're going to need a couple of them. So we can do the knight armor, which I think I used the one here. And how we're going to get the rest of the knight armor is we're actually just going to duplicate this, Control D, make unique, and then go ahead, like we did before, pick another one out, locate the one we want to use here. I'm going to find the knight pants. I think it's this one. Nice. If you want to add the shoes, you can as well. I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to leave it like that. That's fine with me. But we are going to add the helmet, so let's do one more for the helmet. Control D. Again, make unique. And then go ahead, locate helmet. And you can choose whichever one you want. I'm just going to use one of the knight silver helmets like this one. Perfect. And then we'll get rid of the old one. And there we go. That's going to be the first class. And you can give it a name if you want. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead to this one. And let's put knight if it fits. There we go. All right, that's our first one. Now let's do the next one. So let's go ahead and don't forget that we got the button name. Yes, we do. All right, let's go to this one now. Let's go ahead, change name first. And this is going to be, I think we're going to do, let me double check the name of the one. Let's see. So we have class for, yep, we're going to have the class for Jester and Ranger. So let's do this one as Jester. Make sure we're in the right one. So Jester. All right, don't forget button. Yes, we got the right name. So we need the Jester uniform now. So again, make unique. Go ahead, locate the Jester uniform. I'm going to use this one here. Let's go ahead, remove the first one. We need the pants now and the hat. So let's go ahead, make unique. And let's go ahead, get rid of that one. Add in the Jester pants. And I think it's the tan ones, which is right here. It's a little small. This one here. There we go. And now we need the hat. Control D, make unique, remove the current, and then go ahead, locate the jester hat. One of these down here. I'm going to use this one. Nice. All right, jester, perfect. So that's good for that one. And it's always good to double check to make sure you didn't overlap the others. These still look good. Nice. All right, let's do the last one. This is going to be for the ranger. Let's go ahead, change the name to ranger. There we go. Let's go ahead also make unique for this. Remove the current. Locate the ranger outfit. And I think I'm going to use the overall ones. So if we go in a bit, it's going to be, I think it's the red one, this one here. Yep. Again, you can always customize these how you want. I think these look pretty good. Let's do another. For the pants, we're just going to use brown pants to match that. So let's go ahead, remove, current add, and locate brown pants. I think it's right there. Yep. Add that in. Nice. Now we just need a hat. I'm going to go ahead, Control D, make unique, and let's locate the hat. I think I'm going to use the pointed hat, which is this one. Nice. And there we go. We got the knight, the jester, and the ranger. All right. So now we just need one more page. That's for the weapon. So let's go ahead and close this all up. The weapon will be a little easier. We only need one thing. So let's go ahead and duplicate the current select class. And let's go ahead, change the name to select weapon. Nice. All right, for select weapon, I'm going to close out the other one there. Let's rename everything correctly. So we have class button 1, change this to weapon button 1. Weapon button 1. Weapon button 2. And then weapon button 3. And then don't forget the title as well. Choose weapon. Nice. All right. Then we're going to go ahead in each one. Don't forget, we got to change the button name. So we're going to go ahead, same thing. Weapon 1. And I'm going to copy that. Weapon. And I'm going to paste it in real quick just so we don't forget. Because again, this is the sensitive thing we got to do. There we go. And then one more here. And then we can begin putting in the images we want to use. Nice. All right, that looks good to me. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and adjust the images. So what we're going to do is we really only need, I think, about 2 for this one and 1 for these. So let's select this one first. Okay. And yep, we need a sword and a shield. So let's go ahead and make this unique. Make unique. And we're going to go ahead, select the correct weapon. So the shield and the sword. So let's go ahead, select the sword. I'm going to use this one. Remove that there. And then we only need 2 for this one. So I'm going to delete that there. But we are going to take this one. Let's make unique. And then add in the shield we want to use. I'm going to use the little square one with the pattern. So let's use, yep, this one here. Let's add that in. Again, you can use whichever one you want. That's up to you. I think that looks pretty good though. Nice. All right, that'll be good for the knight. And we're going to change the name to sword. Nice. All right, let's do the next one. So let's go ahead and close out of that one there. Open up this other one. This is going to be for the axe. So let's do axe. And then this one's only going to have 1. So let's delete the 2. Select this one here. Make unique. Go ahead. Locate the axe you want to use. I'm going to use, let's see. I'm going to use like the blue axe, the big one here. Again, it's up to you which one you want to use. There's a bunch. Add that in. Delete that. Now, because there's only one thing with no shield, I'm going to center it. So let's go ahead and just center it about there. Nice. All right, and if you click away, you'll see it's right on top. Let's do the bow now. So let's go ahead, make sure that's all there. Good, good. Let's go ahead, remove these two here. Change the name to bow. And then go ahead, make this unique, right click, make unique, remove the current, locate the bow you want to use. I'm going to use the bow with the, I think it's white or gold. There's some bigger bows here. I like the one with the curlier style. So I think, yep, it's one of these. Let's use like this one. Again, you can use whichever one you want. I think this one works best. Let's add it in. Nice. Again, we need to center it up because it does not have a shield. So like right there. Nice. And with that, we have all of our different selection pages. All right, good, good, good. We have all the different character selections. All right, so again, let's go through them all. We have the play game 1, where we start off. Then we have, of course, the select hero. Then we have the class selection. And then also the weapon selection. And with that, we are looking good. Let's close them all out, leave the play game 1 on, and then go ahead, save what you got. All right, in this section, we're going to get started creating the global script. First thing we'll do is we'll add in that new global script. We'll then go ahead and add all the different global variables we'll be using throughout the game's other scripts. We'll then ensure to create a level up function and also some other functions for saving and loading the game's progress. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's get started creating this global script. So first thing we're going to do is add in that global script, which we should know how to do. That's in Project, Project Settings, go to Globals, and then go ahead, give it a new name. I'm simply just going to call it Global. Go ahead, add that in, save it in the scripts folder, create, and then select here to open it up. All right, so inside this global script, we're going to add quite a bit of variables. Because this game is going to have a lot of different customization and different number tracking for the character's health, stats, and different types of upgrades, there is going to be quite a lot of variables in here. Now again, it's very important you have all of them in here. So if you need to check out the source code, do that as well, just to double check you got them all. All right, because we don't want any trouble down the road, okay? So let's go ahead and start adding them in. First one we're going to add in is actually going to be a constant. And this is going to be where we save our data. And I'm going to go ahead and just call this save_path, okay? And like we've done in the past, we're going to go ahead, put it in our user file. So we're going to put it in user:// and I'm just going to call it mining_dungeon_save, and I'll just do .save, okay? Nice. All right, let's go ahead now and keep going. Now we can start adding in those variables. First one is going to be the selected player. All right, and you'll see us using this once we get to the UI script because we're going to be selecting that player we want to play as, okay? Because we're going to have 3 different types, I'm just going to go ahead and keep it as a type int, and by default set to 0. We're also going to have the class we selected, so we're going to call it selected_class. Again, we have 3 types, so I'm going to do another int and simply equal it to 0. And if you guessed it, we're also going to do the weapon the same way. Variable selected_weapon. Same thing, keep an int and default 0. All right, then we're going to need some state ones, such as game started, because we only want certain things to happen when the game starts. This is going to be a bool because it's always going to equal true or false. Below that, we're also going to have weapon ready. This is going to help calculate basically when we can attack as the player. It's just kind of like a helper value. So weapon ready. And we're going to go ahead, bool false. Actually, this will default true because when we first start the game, we're not going to be attacking. All right. Let's add the B in there. All right, let's keep going. Next one is going to be whether or not the game is over. So game underscore over, and the state of that is always going to equal false on start. All right, next thing we're going to keep track of is where we are in the game. All right, and the easiest way I found how to do that is call it current area, and that's going to be a type string, and then we're going to equal that to starting as menu. But because we're going to have different maps we're going to create, such as the shop or the regular map or even a boss battle, we want to be able to change that. The reason I'm having it as a string is in case down the road you want to create your own different levels and you don't want just 3 or numbers to track them. Using strings is good for this because we can actually read out what it's supposed to be. All right, so then we're going to keep track of some upgrade stuff and some money stuff. So var coins will be our coin money system. Again, type int, and default value will just be something like 30 to start the player off with something. We can always lower that later. We're also going to go ahead and give ourselves some starting XP points, so XP points. And for testing, we might add some more to this, but for now, we'll just leave it at a float value of, we'll keep it for now at 0.0, okay? All right, we'll have another one. We're going to call this current underscore bombs because we can have bombs in the game as well to help us mine a little faster. And let's go ahead and just give our player a default value of 3 of them. Let's go ahead and also give them some starting potions. These are gonna like basically heal the player. So we'll do current underscore potions. Again, type int and equal 3. Nice, okay. So that's gonna be kind of what the player can hold. All right, then we need some for some more upgrade stuff, such as the current health. So let's do current underscore health. That's going to be a type int, and I'm going to equal that to 20 starting. We're also going to have our current XP, so var current. Let's do, or we have XP point. Yeah, this is different. This is XP points we can use to spend to upgrade. Current XP is kind of like we're currently at, okay? We get rewarded points based on our current XP getting to max and leveling us up. So we have current XP, and this is going to be a type float. The reason we're making these a type float, by the way, is because one of the stat upgrades for one of the characters will be upgrading the minimum amount of XP you need to level up, okay? That's why we're keeping some of these as floats compared to the others, which are all ints. So it's important it's the correct type. So current XP, and then we can have our current level, so var current underscore level, because we know we can level up in the game. That's going to be an int, and we'll set that to 0 as the base. Then we need also the current floor we're on. The reason why we are tracking the floor level is because basically over time, as the floors go deeper and deeper, certain things are going to get harder, such as the enemy types, or even the rocks need to be hit a certain amount of times. That's also going to be int equal to 0. We're then going to go ahead. We're going to have another one. This is going to be our max underscore HP. Because that can level up, we need to set a max. And that's going to be, of course, set to the beginning value, which we know is 20. Perfect. We're also going to set the max XP. And because we know XP is usually dealt with floats, it's going to be a type float. So max XP type float equals, let's do 20.0. Nice. All right. All right, one more set of variables and we should be good. These are going to be for pretty much the levels for attacking with certain weapons or different bonuses we get throughout it. So let's make some room so we can see it a little more better in the center. We're going to start off with the current attack. So our base attack will also be a type int. We'll set it to 0 for now. Then we're going to have var current underscore pickaxe. This is going to be the power it takes to break a rock. And again, type int equals 0. Then we're going to start adding in the bonuses. So var current underscore. We'll call this SB for speed bonus. So speed bonus, one word. This is also going to be a type int and equal to 0. One of the other upgrades we're going to have is going to be our current underscore. Let's do HP bonus. Again, one word. Int equals 0. And then the last one is that XP bonus I talked about, where it's going to slowly lower it down, the max you need. So we'll do current XP bonus. Go ahead, type int, and equal that to 0. Again, I know that was a lot of different variables, but very important we have them all in here. Make sure you do. And then, of course, save your progress as you continue so you don't forget. Let's continue on. So now we're going to get started creating the first function. Now this function we're going to create is for resetting all the data when either we quit the game and come back, or of course we get a game over and we have to start from scratch, okay? So let's go ahead and create this new function. Let's give it a name. I'm also going to give it some space here so we can see it a little better. Let's go ahead, do function reset underscore game underscore, we'll just say stats. All right, there we go. Yep, reset game stats. And we'll go ahead, give it a set of parentheses to avoid, and colon. All right, so easiest way to do this, honestly, instead of typing each one out individually, is I'm just going to go ahead and copy every single one here except the save path. And then I'm just going to hit enter or backspace and then paste that in. And then we can kind of just adjust each one. This is probably the fastest way to do it. If you have a faster way to do it, you're more than welcome to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of all the extra here. Like that. And then we're going to do that for each one. I'm going to go backspace first for each. This is definitely a robust way to do this, but honestly, I think it's the fastest I got so far. There probably is a way in Godot you can hit on multiple lines at the same time, but I think we'll be okay with this. So let's go ahead, get rid of all the vars and the extra in between spacing. All right. And then we also can get rid of everything here as well. I like to keep one space between the equals, but we can get rid of all that because we're no longer defining them. We're just going ahead and setting the value for each one. So let's go ahead. And once we finish this up, we'll just add a tab for each one, and then we'll be good. All right. Good there, good there, here, and here, and here, and here. Nice. Okay, so now we just need a tab for each one. So go ahead, add in the tabs, and then the errors will start slowly going away. Nice. All right, keep going. Nice, and there we go. All right, so that's our reset game stats function. Okay, make sure you have all that in there. But with that, you should be okay. Our next function we're going to create is our leveling up function. That one's pretty simple. All we're going to do is function level up. Level up, parentheses to void. And then go ahead within there. All we're going to do is we're going to set our current underscore level plus equals 1. And then we're going to update all the default stats. So these stats are always going to upgrade no matter what character you are, which is going to be the base attack. And then also the other one, which is going to be the pickaxe. All right. So current underscore pickaxe. Wherever that is. If you can't see it, maybe we spelled it wrong. Nope. Yeah, we didn't do that correctly, so current. And if we want to fix that, I'm going to take that, go to, where is it? Current attack. Here we go, current pickaxe. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and match that up with that. Here as well. And then plus equals 1. Nice. All right. Looks good there. All right, so those are the two functions. Remember, we have the reset game stats and then the level up. All right, save that so far. Let's continue on. All right, so next function we're going to create is going to be our save game function. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let's create some space for this. We're basically going to save the values we have here. So let's go ahead, do a function, and we'll call this save underscore game. Give it a set parentheses and arrow to void. And we've done this in the past in the last project, but we're going to use the traditional standard one, which is the JSON saving style. So we need to describe basically all the key values. And then we're going to go ahead and save that to our file path, okay? So what we're going to do is first pass in a var, call file, equal that to file access dot open. Within open, use the save path value we have, and go ahead, do comma, file access dot all caps write. All right, because we are writing to that file. Okay. All right. So then we'll go ahead and make sure it exists. Say if not file, then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to return. So no saving action if the file does not exist. All right. But let's go ahead and describe the data within that file. This is going to be the longest part. So I'm going to add some more enters here. It's a pretty big one. Let's go back up a little bit more. Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and describe the data. We're just going to call this data. And this is a bit of a robust way to do it. The more proper way is going to be in the section before, where we kind of went over it in depth. But this is going to be kind of a quick one we can use for this type of game. So we're going to describe the data within curly brackets. And then we're just going to be passing in some key values. All right, so we have our first one, which is going to be our selected player. So we have selected player, colon, and then the value of selected player. All right, and then you can separate them by commas. Next one, double quotes, selected class, and then go ahead, the value, which we know is selected class. All right. Next one, double quotes, selected weapon. We definitely want to save that. And then same thing, save that selected weapon. Nice, comma. And then go ahead. Next one, double quotes, coins, colon. And this will, of course, be our coins value, comma. Then we're going to go ahead, double quotes. Let's call this XP points. Again, equal it to XP points, comma. Next up, we're going to do current bombs. So current bombs. And go ahead, locate current bombs, comma. Next one. We're going to go ahead, current potions, comma, or not comma, colon, then current potions. Current potions. Next one, go ahead, current potions, we're at current health, I think, yep, because we're going to save the current health. Colon, current health, comma. Next one, double quotes. All right, we got current health. Current XP is something we need to save. So current underscore XP, colon, current XP, comma. All right, next one, current level double quotes, current level, colon, current level. It always gives me that. There we go. All right, we got current level. Now we need current floor as well. Current floor. Let's go ahead, next one. We're gonna get max HP, max HP, max HP value. We need max XP now. Max XP, max XP. All right, next one. We're gonna go ahead. Let's see, we need current attack as well. Current attack. Doesn't like this one. Oh, max XP. There we go. All right, so current attack. This one here. Let's do, yep, current pickaxe. So current pickaxe. And I'm gonna go ahead, paste that in there. Next up, we need current SP bonus. Current SP bonus, speed bonus, or special attack bonus technically. Current SP bonus. Another one, current HP bonus. Current HP bonus. And then one more, current XP bonus. All right, nice. And there we go. Looks good. All right, last thing we need to do is actually save that data now on the file, which we know is going to be file dot, let's do store underscore line, and we'll go ahead and do JSON and do dot stringify, because we're turning those values into strings, the data. Nice. Now another thing you could also do to clean this up, it's kind of up to you, but if you wanted to get rid of these and kind of stack it forward so it's not a big line like this, you can, but I think it's all right. All right, so let's go ahead now and do the next one. This is going to be for loading the data. So we have our save data function. Now we need our load data function, okay? This will be a little bit easier, I think. Let's go ahead and do function, load game. Same thing we've done before. Pass it in, error to void, and go ahead, colon, and get started. So again, first thing we need to do is make sure it exists. So say if not file access dot file exists, and again we're looking for save path. If that's the case, we'll do a simple return. All right. Now we're also going to go ahead and do a var file, again same thing, equals file access dot open this time, save path, comma, file access dot read. Nice. All right, and of course another check, if not file return, and there we go. All right, so then of course we're going to do the same thing. We need to now pull the string values back into our actual game, and the way we're going to do that is like before in the last section. Do a var, call it JSON, equal that to JSON type, all caps, dot new, and then go ahead. We're going to say, well, not inside the parentheses, afterwards, we're going to say if JSON dot parse file dot get line. All right, equals OK. So basically we're checking to see if that exists within it, which we know it should if it already saved it using this here. All right, so we're going to say if it equals OK. Then we're going to do what we did before, create a new var, call it data equals JSON dot data. All right, and then we need to just convert everything. Okay, so let's go ahead, start off with our selected player dot, or not dot, we'll just do selected player equals data dot get. Within get, we're looking for, again, selected player. So I'm going to copy that, paste it in, and getting a default value of 0. Okay, nice. All right, this is basically that rollback value. Okay, so we need to do this for each type. So let's go ahead, paste that in. We'll do selected class next. I'm going to save that, paste it in. Nice. All right, next one, selected weapon. So let's go ahead, new line, paste it, selected weapon. Don't forget to change the key, selected weapon. All right, next up, let's go ahead. This will be coins. Let's go ahead, paste coins there. Here as well. And our coin default is going to be, I think we did 30 or 10. We did 30. Let's go ahead, put that for there. Copy the whole thing, paste again. All right, next one, XP points. XP points, save XP points, paste it in. And default, I think, was 10. It's kind of up to you for what you want to do for that. I think we did 10. Did we do 10 or 0? No, we did 0.0 because it's a float. Okay, let's do that. 0.0. All right, I'm going to grab a basic one here. Most of them are going to be ints. All right, next one. Let's see. We have XP points. We need current bombs. Current bombs. Paste the name in here as well. And I think we're going to do like 3. Let's copy the whole thing for potions. Current potions. Paste key name. Copy the whole thing. Paste it in. All right, current potions. We need current health now. Current health. Paste it in. I think that's 20. Yep. 20 for current health. Let's go ahead. Next up. So we got current health. We need current XP. Current XP. Doesn't like it. There it is, current XP. I think that's also 0 or 0.0. Yep. We'll do 0, that's fine. Let's do the next one. All right, current XP, we need current level. Current level, that can also be 0. Let's do another. All right, we got current level. I think we need current floor next. Current floor, also 0. All right, current floor, current level. Now we need max HP. Let's go ahead. Max HP. Paste in that as well, which I think was 20 also. All right, we got max HP. Now we need max XP. And that was 0, I think. Or no, that was also 20, I'm pretty sure. No, it was 10. We can always change that later, that's fine. Next up, let's go ahead. This is going to be current attack, which is 0. Current attack. paste the key, make it 0. All right, then we need current pickaxe. Where is that? There it is. Same thing, keep it at 0. Let's go ahead, keep it up. All right, we need current SP bonus. Current SP bonus. Paste that in there. All right, then we need, I think, current HP bonus. Current HP bonus. Paste. And then last one, current XP bonus. Current XP bonus. Nice. All right. Know that was a lot. Make sure you got that in there. And the last little thing we need to do for this script is the actual delete function, okay, which deletes and resets the data. So that one's pretty easy. All we're going to do is function. We're going to do, just delete underscore data. Give it a set parentheses, arrow to void, and open it up. All right, and again, this is super simple. All we're going to do is just say if file access dot file exists within simple save path, because we don't want to delete it unless it's already there. And we're going to say directory access dir dot remove absolute, and go ahead and just add in the save path. And with that, we're set with our global script. Again, I know that was a lot. There's a lot of different variables in here. Very important you have them all in for everything. The base ones, the save ones, and also the load ones, okay? Again, always check the source code if you're worried. But overall, I think we're looking good with that. Let's save that. Go back to 2D view, center things up, and there we go. I really hope you enjoyed the free module. But if you'd like to continue, you'll have to go ahead and navigate to my official website at redfoolstudio.com/game development. From there, you can go ahead and select the intermediate course and then get full access to the entire course itself. Hope to see you there. Before we start the project, I just want to remind you this is the free module, so you will get a taste of the project we're going to make and also my teaching style. If you'd like to continue the full project, you will have to go to my official website at redfoolstudio.com/game development. The links will be in the description. Now let's get started. In this project, we will be creating a tower defense game. You can play the game for free at the link below. For this game, we will create two sides of a map, one for the player and the other for the enemy. Once the game starts, the battle will begin, and whoever destroys the opposing side's base wins the game. Some of the new features we will learn to make are enemy AI navigation, multi-enemy class types, and even unit selection in the main menu. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. In this section, we're going to set up everything we need for our tower defense game. First thing we'll do is start off and create a new Godot project. We'll then go ahead and add in all the folders for the art, components, data, scenes, and scripts. After that, we'll make sure to import all the different assets we'll be using at these links here. Now let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I went ahead and created a new project. Let's go ahead and make sure we're inside the 2D view in Godot. Once you're here, some things to note, because this game is going to be more of a PC style, we're going to leave the screen size as is. The only thing we'll make sure to do though is we'll go to our project, project settings, locate window under display, and then go ahead and scroll on down to where we have the stretch mode. Currently it's set to disabled. We're going to change that to viewport. Once you're done there, you can close. Next thing we'll do is add in all our different folders. So let's go ahead, right click on our rest folder, open a new one up, and call this one Art. Let's also go ahead and change the color, right click, set color, and do a red. Okay, let's do some more. Let's right click, create new folder. We'll call this Components. And we'll make this color a yellow. We'll also go ahead, create another one. We'll call this one Data. And we'll make this an orange. Let's keep going. Let's do another folder. We'll call this one Scenes. And we'll make this a purple. One more to go. It'll be for our scripts. So let's right click, create new folder, Scripts. Go ahead, change that color to a nice green. Awesome. And with that, we should be set here. Let's save what we got. Next thing we'll do is make sure to download all the different asset packs. Now, the first one can be found at kenny.nl/assets/tower defense top down. This is going to be our base template for all the visuals, okay? This is a great one to use for a generic type of tower defense game. So once you're here, go ahead, scroll on down, and select the download button. Once downloaded, make sure to extract all and then drag and drop into our art folder. The next asset pack we're going to use is going to be called Sci-Fi Sounds, located at the same site, kenny.nl/assets/sci-fi sounds. Once here, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go ahead, scroll on down, select download, and then make sure to extract all before dragging and dropping into our art folder within Godot. Last one to do is going to be the music pack. This one can be located at gooseninja.itch.io/space music pack. This is going to have all the different music tracks we're going to use for our game. So once here, scroll on down, select download now, and just make sure to extract all and then drag and drop in the specific songs you want to use. And with that, we should be set. Alright, so in this section, we're going to get started creating the menu UI for our game. First thing we'll do is discuss each menu page being created in the game. We'll then ensure to add a node for each main page. After that, we'll go ahead and add some buttons and also some title labels for each page. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's discuss the menu UI pages about to be created. Starting off, our first page we're going to create is going to be our play game page. Our play game page is going to consist of a title of the game and then a simple play game button. Once you select play game, you'll be navigated to the second page, which is going to be our menu page. Our menu page is going to consist of 4 different things. The first thing will be the current difficulty the game is set to. The second will be the Start Battle button. The third will be the Units button. And then the final one will be the Reset Data button. Now once you select the second button to open up the Units page, you'll be taken to the next UI page. In the next UI page, you'll have a couple different things. Starting off with a back button that brings you back to the previous page. You'll then have a nice selector viewing all the current selected units. You'll then also be able to change out the current selected units with the ones below. Now let's go ahead and get started. Alright, let's get started creating our menu UI. So let's go ahead and first add in our main scene. So let's select 2D scene. Let's go ahead, rename that as all lowercase main. From there, let's go ahead and add another node. Let's right click, add child node, node 2D. Let's also go ahead, rename this one as menu UI. Alright. From there, you can save what you got. Make sure to save the main.tscn inside the scenes folder and save. Alright, next thing we'll do is we'll add a canvas layer. Let's go ahead, add in that canvas layer That's going to help house all of our other UI objects. So once we have that there, we can go ahead now and add a couple different controls for each page. So let's add the first one. Right click, add child node, control. And this first one we'll call the title page. All right, with that title page, we can also go ahead and adjust it to fit the whole screen. We're also going to go ahead and go to the setting for the mouse and make sure to set filter from stop to ignore, okay? That just means we can click through it even if it's still on. That'll just kind of help basically allow us to click things if they're on top of each other, okay? Nice. All right, so let's go ahead now and add in a new label for the title. Right click, add child node, add a label. Let's go ahead, extend this towards the top here a bit. We can always adjust it later. Let's go ahead and just call this tower defense game. And I'm going to go ahead and do an enter after the game so we can have it like that. Let's also go ahead, center everything up and center it here as well. Okay. Then we'll go ahead, give it a nice label setting, select it there, go to the font. Let's increase it a bit. Let's do something like, let's do 60, see how that looks. Not bad, maybe a little bigger. We could do 65. And then we're also going to go ahead, change the color to that nice yellow we've been using, and also give it a nice thick outline. Let's do like 22. And then go ahead and change that outline color to a black. All right, I might want to make that outline a little bigger. Instead of 22, let's try 33. And perfect, I like that. Makes it look nice and bold. All right. So with that there, we can also go ahead and add in our first button. That's going to be our play game button, okay? I'm also going to lower that just a little bit. Let's go ahead, right click, add child node, and we're going to simply add a node 2D for this. Let's go ahead, rename it as button. All right, from there, let's go ahead. Let's add in a new color rect for the background. Let's also change the name to BG for background. I'm going to do it about, let's say, let's go with like this big for the button sizes. Let's also go ahead and make that base one a nice black color. Then let's go ahead, duplicate that same one, drag and drop it in. And let's go ahead and make this one like a dark blue, similar to the ones we've been using in the other projects. I'm going to go a little darker than that. Let's go like there. Let's also go ahead, zoom in a bit, and just give it a nice border with the one we have above it. Let's do about there, here, and here. Again, it's up to you how you want to design all this stuff. I'm just going to keep it like this for now, though. I think it looks pretty good. All right. So we have our nice button there. Now we just need to give the button itself a label. So let's go ahead, right click, add child node, add a nice little label, make sure it's surrounding the whole thing. Also go ahead, make sure we set the settings for label. So we're going to go ahead and center everything up just like we did with the title. We're also going to go ahead and we're going to make sure that the little highlight effect is turned off, which you can do by going to theme and then changing the type variation from empty, or let's go ahead, double check. We are in the wrong one. Whoops. Should be in, yep, theme. It might actually auto do it already. If that's the case, that might be okay. We can test that out real quick. If we go ahead, start current game, let that load. If you click it, also make sure that it is above everything. We never added the actual button to it, no worries. We'll keep that as is. Let's go ahead and put in the text. We'll just do simply as play. Perfect. Let's also increase the size. Let's go ahead and just do something a little bigger, like 30, maybe even bigger. Let's do 40. 35 might be better. I just don't want the tail of the Y touching the bottom. Let's do 35. Let's also change it to that nice yellow, or actually I think the blue will look better with these kinds of buttons, the blue and the white. So let's actually keep that. Again, it's up to you how you want to style it, but I do kind of like the white with the blue. So we'll keep that, but we will give it a nice background just like we do with all of our text. Let's go ahead, let's go to that color, and we'll just give it a little black background. Okay, so make sure you got that. We'll make sure you got it for the outline itself, and then increase it just a little bit. Let's do like a 10 for that. Maybe a little bit more, like a 15. Perfect. Awesome. That looks really good. Now we can add the button, and then we'll be able to make sure it's set correctly. Let's go ahead, add that button. Make sure it's a unique name. Let's call it button play. Or actually, better yet, what we could do, because this is sending us to the selection, we can go ahead and just do button selection page. Perfect. That'll make a little bit more sense because we will reuse it with the back button we're going to create eventually. But let's go ahead and extend this to cover the entire button. Now the one thing I was mentioning was the flat button. So this is the same area theme, type variation. There you go, flat button. We were trying to do that with the label, but now we're doing it here. All right, and one thing to note is if you have an older version of Godot and you select it, it might have a white bar around it. If you want to get rid of that white bar, all you would have to do is go to Theme Overrides, Styles, and then look for the focus and pressed, okay? And then you can change those, all right? Again, that's up to you, but for now we're okay in this version of Godot. All right, but now that we have our button created, let's go ahead and position it correctly. I'm going to put it right underneath the play game, right over here, and let's do it like about here. Again, we can always customize this, but for now I think this looks good. Awesome. All right, and that's going to be everything in our title page, okay? Now we can go ahead and move on to the next different pages. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is select our title page, Control D. We'll change the name. We'll call this selection page. All right. From there, we'll go ahead and adjust some things. The one text on the top for this one is actually going to be the difficulty level. So let's select our label here for the title. Let's go ahead and make the label settings unique. Right click, make unique. And we can keep the size the same and the boldness the same. The only thing I'm going to change is going to be the color. I want to do like a teal color, kind of like that. I think that'll look kind of cool. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's also give it some default text. Let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is let's do difficulty. And then we'll go ahead, we'll give it a colon. And for now, we'll just put 1, okay? Because we're going to have a difficulty level of 1, 2, and 3, all right? See it a little better, let's make the current one invisible behind it. Perfect, all right. So now in here, we're going to have 3 different buttons, okay? And again, it's kind of up to you how you want to design this. I'm going to just move this up just a little bit to make room for the other buttons, but we're going to have a couple different ones. So we have the button here. This one's going to be the button battle, which basically starts the game. So we're going to have that there. We're also then going to go ahead. We're going to take that label, change it to battle as well, capital B. And don't forget, the button node itself needs a unique name. So we're going to call this button battle, capital B. Then we can go ahead, position it where we want it. I'm just going to move it up a bit. Let's go like right here. Perfect. Let's go ahead now and duplicate this. Control D. All right, this one's going to be for managing the units. So let's go ahead. We'll do units for this one. So button, units. Also go ahead, change the text within to units. And then of course, make the button node itself a unique name. So this is going to be button, and again, button units. All right, nice. And then we can go ahead, drag that down a bit. Make sure you're holding the actual parent node. There we go. And we'll move it like about there, okay? Perfect. All right, one more button to go in this page. We need the reset data. So let's go ahead. We're going to take this one here, Control D. We're going to call it button reset. All right. Then we're going to go ahead inside the label, put the word reset again. And then we're going to go ahead here. Let's give it a unique name. We'll call it reset data. Perfect. Then we just need to position it correctly. Let's go ahead, move it on down, make it about the same distance as the other two. Might need to go up just a little bit. But with that, I think we'll be okay. Again, we can always adjust the styling later. But for now, I think it looks good. All right, So that's going to be everything for this page. We have the selection page, the title page. Now we just need the character selection / units page, okay? Now that one, we're not going to do the full one here. We're just going to have a placeholder for it with just the back button for now. But let's go ahead and select selection page, Control D. Let's call this units page. All right, let's turn off the one in the back there. And what we're going to do for this, let's go ahead, change this here. I'm going to keep the actual font and everything. Let's just call this select. We'll do units. Okay, nice. All right, select units. And then we can go ahead and start adjusting things. Now we only need one default button for now. Eventually we'll get into designing this page down the road. But for now we're just going to have kind of like a placeholder. This will be our button back. So let's go ahead, do button back. Let's put this back button on the top left corner. Let's put it like right over here. Nice. Let's also go ahead, change the text to back. And one cool trick we're going to do, instead of having a completely new signal for this button, we're just going to keep the same name as the one in the title page because they're going to do the same thing. They're just going to send us back to that selection page, okay? So I'm going to take that same button name and paste it for the one here in our new page. Nice. And with that, our selection page is looking good. Now we could add one more thing that might help the player out, and just that is going to be showcasing the current coins we have to unlock those other characters. So we can do that easily by selecting the label here. Let's do a Control D. Let's go ahead and give it a unique label name, label coins. Awesome. And then what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and adjust it, or if you want, we could just move it to the left, but I think it'll look better if we go like this here. We'll make the label settings unique. And we'll go ahead and first change the font to that nice yellow we've been using. And then decrease it a bit. Let's do like half of it. So let's do like 32. Maybe a little bigger. That seems a little small. Let's do 38. And let's go ahead. Decrease the outline. Let's do like 15. Maybe a little more to give that bold. Let's do 21. Nice. Okay, and then of course change the default text. Let's do coins, :0. And again, it's up to you how you want to design this. I think this looks pretty good. I might actually lower it just a little bit so it looks like it's on the same line. So I'm going to do that just a bit more. But again, we can always adjust this later. But for now, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, nice. So let's go ahead, close that there. One other thing we missed to do that we can do real quick so we don't forget down the road is we want to give the unique name for the selection page. Now, why do we want to do that? It's because this is going to be increasing over time. So it's best to give things we're going to be messing with a special name. So let's call this label difficulty. Perfect. And again, that'll help down the road once we attach the script to it to update the text. But for now, we're looking good. We currently have the title page, selection page, and the units page. By default, the only one that should be on is the title page. So make sure you have that there. Zoom in a bit and save what you got. In this section, we're going to get started creating the global script. First thing we'll do is create that new global script to keep track of all the shared variables. Next up, we'll ensure to add all the different variables other scripts will be using. After that, we'll add some functions to reset, save, and load the current data from the game. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's get started creating that global script. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead up to our project settings, locate our globals tab, go ahead, give it a new name, all lowercase global. Go ahead, add that in. Make sure we're saving it in the correct folder, the scripts folder, open, and hit create. Once there, you can open it up by selecting this button here. All right, so let's go ahead and create a couple different variables, all right? So first, I'm gonna go ahead, make the screen a little bigger. Back a little here. All right, so we'll start off with a couple different variables just like we've done in the past for all the different saving paths, we're going to do a constant for that. We're going to go ahead, call it just save underscore path. And you can either do all caps or lowercase. It's kind of up to you. I am going to do mine just lowercase. Save path. And we're going to go ahead and equal that to our current save path, which we know is going to be our user : / save game dot save. Okay? Perfect. Now remember, if you ever want to reset this manually, all you have to go to is the user path, which you can find by going to project and then opening up the open user data folder, okay? After we save for the first time, you'll see that it exists. So if you ever want to reset things, you would simply go there and delete this file. All right, let's continue on though. So we need a couple different variables that we're going to use throughout the entire game. Let's start off with our first one. It's going to be called our coins underscore count. It's going to be a type int. And let's start it off equaling it to 0. Let's do another one, another variable. We'll call this unlocked. And we'll go ahead and just call this unlocked units, okay? Because again, we can purchase new ones, so we need to make sure that we keep track of that. And that's going to be a type of array. And that's going to equal at first just an empty bracket of 0 and 0 for each value type. Nice. Let's also put a space there. Next up, let's create another one for the selected units. So we're going to call this selected underscore units. And as you know, you're always going to have 4 units that you can use from. So we're going to go ahead and make this also a type array. And then equal it again to another array. This time we're going to set it to the default values, which is going to be 0 for the first one, 1 for the second, 2 for the third, and 3 for the fourth. Nice. Eventually we can then add in the 4 and the 5 for the other types we can unlock. For now though, let's continue on. Next up, we're going to have a variable that keeps track if game is started. So we'll have game started, type bool, and at first will always equal false. After that, we'll have one for game ended, so variable game underscore ended. Again, type bool, and again type false. Next up, we're going to keep track of who wins the game. So we're going to call it who underscore wins. And this is going to be a type string. And at first, we're always going to equal it to an empty string. Eventually, once the player wins, it'll be player and the enemy for enemy. Okay? Nice. Let's continue on. Next up, we're going to call this destroyed underscore enemy underscore towers. Because as we know in this game, if you destroy all the towers or just the main tower, then you win the game. So let's go ahead, make this also a type array. And at first, we'll just leave it to an empty array of 0, 0, and 0. Okay, that'll be our default. So let's save that entire thing. Let's paste it below. This will be for the player one. So let's go ahead, destroyed player towers. And again, 0, 0, and 0 for the value. All right, we're going to continue on. This will be for our current mana. So current underscore mana. And we're going to go ahead and make it a type int and simply equal it to 0 on start. Next up, we're going to have a variable for our current underscore enemy mana. And again, type int equaling it to 0. Last thing to count is going to be our current underscore difficulty. Okay? Now we need this to keep track of what difficulty to set the game when we play. And again, this will be a type int. And at first it will be beginner, which is going to be 0. Nice. Make sure you have all those variables in there. Perfect. All right, let's continue on. Let's go ahead. Let's do another function. Let's do our first one, which is our ready function. Okay? And the only thing we need in our ready function is simply going to be our load game function. Okay? So we'll call it load game. Empty set of parentheses. Now again, we don't have this created. Let's put a placeholder. just do function, paste the name, colon, and then a pass inside. Nice. But we'll continue on to the next one I have, which is going to be the reset game data. Okay, this one's important to have because basically whenever we quit the game or restart it, we want to set everything back to default. It's pretty easy. We're just going to do function reset underscore game underscore state. All right, nice. Then we're going to go ahead, open it up. Now, there's going to be certain things we are going to reset. We don't need to reset everything, but there are a couple that are pretty important. So first thing inside of it, we're going to reset is going to be our game started and our game ended. So game started is going to go back to false. And then our other one, which is going to be game ended, also back to false. We're also then going to go ahead and reset who wins, which will equal simply an empty double set of quotes. And then of course our destroyed towers. So destroyed enemy towers will reset back to the default array, which we know is 0, 0, and 0. Let's copy that same thing for the next one, for the player one. This will be for the player towers. Nice. All right. Then we need the mana to reset, so we'll do our current mana, reset that back to 0, and then our enemy mana, reset that back to 0. Then all we got to do is one more thing, which is initiate saving the game. So just like we did with load game, we're going to have a save game function. So save game, parentheses set. All right. And let's go ahead and create the save game one first before the load game. So we'll do that function there. Paste the name, colon. Now inside of it, let's make some room so we can see it a little better. All right, so pretty easy save function. All we're gonna do is make sure the file exists. So we'll do variable file equals file access dot open. Within open, all we're gonna do is have our save path, comma, again, file, make sure it's capital F, file access dot capital write, okay, because we're writing to that new file when saving the game. We can then go ahead and store it. We're going to do the JSON type we've been using. Let's go ahead, do file dot store val, store val, or var, that's better, curly set of brackets, open that up. Now we just need to add all the data we're saving within here with the key first, which is going to be coins, colon, save the value type, coins count, comma, for the next one. Make sure you got just the comma. The next one, again, double quotes, we'll call this unlocked. Technically, it is the unlocked units, but to keep it short, we can do that. Then we'll go ahead and put unlocked units. Next one we'll do is we're going to go ahead, double quotes, difficulty, and then go ahead, pass in the current difficulty value. All right, because again, these are the only things that don't really reset and that we need to keep track of, okay? Then last thing we'll do outside of all the brackets, we'll go ahead and do a file.close. Perfect. And there we go, simple, very easy save game function. All right, make sure you have that there. Then we're going to do our load function now. So the one we created earlier, let's go ahead, get rid of the pass, make some room for it. Now inside the load function, first thing we need to do is say if file access dot file exists, then save path, colon, variable file equals, again, capital F, file access dot open, within open, save path, and then comma, file access, capital F, dot read, because we are no longer saving, we are reading the file, okay? Then we'll go ahead and get the data variable, data equals, again, our file dot get underscore var, and then we need to kind of like loop through it, Best way to do that is first close it up. So file.close. Then we say if data coins count equals data dot get parentheses set key value, which is coins, and then the default value, which we'll just put at 0, okay? So we need to do this for each value type. So let's go ahead, paste that in twice. Unlocked units for this one. And then of course, the unlock, just make sure that those keys match the keys here. Last one, current difficulty equals the difficulty. Again, make sure it is spelled exactly the same or we'll have issues. So make sure you have difficulty for each one to match the key value ones, okay? Nice. And with that, we have our load game function. Now there is one more we are going to add. That's going to be basically the delete save file. This will be good for testing. So let's create that real quick. Again, function, call it delete underscore save underscore data, parentheses set, open it up. Within it, if file access dot file exists. And again, we're looking for that save path we have. If that's the case, then we're going to go ahead, get our directory access dot remove absolute, and same thing, save path. We're also then going to reset those values. So our coins count will be reset to 0. Our unlocked units will also be reset to that same array, 0, comma. We'll do, 0, comma 0. And then we'll go ahead. And I think we messed up this one. One of these, nope, unlocked units. Make sure unlocked units has only 2 because we're only going to make 2. So let's locate that. Nope, it just has 2. That's good. So make sure that's set for there. Perfect. And yep, this is what I was talking about. We messed that up. So remember, we need to set that back to default. So again, comma 0. Okay, nice. So that's the resetting one. And then the last thing we need to do is reset the current difficulty. So locate current difficulty and simply equal that to 0. Perfect, okay? Awesome. And with that, that's our entire global script. So make sure you have each one of those functions. Clean it up a bit. Go ahead, save what you got there. Go back to 2D view. And we're looking good. All right, in this section, we're going to get started creating the menu script. We'll start off and create a new script and attach it to the main menu node. We'll then go ahead and ensure to add all the correct variables to represent the different UI pages. After that, we'll add in some functions to flip through the pages and update certain labels. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and create a new script for our menu UI. So let's go ahead, let's select our menu UI node, the one right here. Let's add a new script. Let's make sure we're saving it in the correct location. That's going to be the scripts folder. Open and hit create. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. So next up, we're going to add in all our different kinds of variables. So let's go ahead, do a couple add-on readies. Variable. We'll call this the title underscore page. And this is going to be a type of control, capital C. And simply equal that to our title page. All right. Drag and drop it in. We're going to go ahead and add a couple others. Do another add-on ready, another variable. It's going to be the main, or we can call it even the selection page, honestly. Selection underscore page. We could have also called it the main page. Let's go ahead, type control, and simply equal that to our current one we have right here. Nice. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go ahead and do our next one. Let's do an add-on ready variable. Let's call this the units page. Again, a type of control, capital C. and then equal that to our units page. Nice. All right, let's keep it going. We're also going to have a couple representing some nodes we're going to add in the future for the @game playing and also the stores. So let's do @onReady, another variable. This one we'll call the game_page. Again, type control. Or actually, I think this one will house the control. So let's do a regular node2d for this one. Just like that. Okay, nice. Perfect. Now this one does not exist yet. We're going to make this down the road. So for now, we can add a placeholder. So let's right click on the main node, add a new node 2D, and we'll just call this in-game. All right, nice. Perfect. And then we'll just drag and drop its path right here. Perfect. Last thing we need, of course, is the difficulty level. So let's go ahead, locate where that is. That's another @onReady variable. And we'll call this difficulty text. It's going to be a type label, and we'll equal it to our current one we have, which I think should be this one. You can double check it by going to 2D view, going ahead and locating it. I think it's actually in the selection page. It's going to be this text right here. So if you select it, it should highlight it. All right, nice. So let's go back to the script and drag and drop that in right here. Perfect. Nice. All right, so now we can get started adding in all the different functions for each button. So the first one is actually going to be the play game button, okay? And that's going to be in the title page, as you know. So let's turn this one off first and this one on. Let's locate that button. So button selection page, let's select it. Let's locate where it is in the signal for pressed and go ahead and connect it to that menu UI script. And all we're going to do in here is we're simply going to update the correct pages. So we're going to turn off the visibility of the title page. So do title page visibility equals false. The one we are going to turn on is that selection page. So let's do selection page visible equals true. And of course, we're also going to turn off the units page. So units page dot visible equals false. And one cool thing about this button here is it's going to have the same functionality as our unit page back button, okay? Because again, they're going to navigate us all to the selection page. So what you can do to save time is open up that units page, look for the button back, select it here, and go ahead and connect it. Now, one thing to note is its name has to be the exact same as the one we have in our title page, okay? Or it's not going to connect and make a new signal. We want it to connect to the same signal, so make sure it's the same name. Once you have that, looking good. Let's continue on though. We'll have one for selecting the units page. So that's going to be inside of our selection page here. Locate the button's units, select it, and select pressed. Make sure it connects to the menu UI script. And let's go ahead, copy the contents of the one above, paste it inside this new function. And all we're going to do is change out which one should be visible, which we know is going to be the units page. So we're going to make them all false except for the units page, which we'll make as true, just like that. Continuing on, we'll have the actual battle page button now. So that's going to be the one that actually starts the game itself. So we go back to 2D view and we go ahead and make the selection page visible. You'll see we have that battle button. So we're going to make sure that is connected. So go ahead, back to script, select that button, button battle, locate the button here, make sure it has that unique name, select pressed, and connect it to the script. Now in here, we're going to do a couple things. First thing we're going to do, of course, is turn off the current pages. So we can go ahead, copy in the three we have above, and we're just going to paste those in there. And then we're going to make them all false, okay? Because remember, no UI should be open when we're playing the game. We'll have a specific UI in there, but for now we want to turn off all of these ones. The one we will turn on though is going to be that game page that we have right here. So let's go ahead, game page dot visible equals true. Nice. We're also going to set our global variable, global dot game started equal to true. That'll eventually initiate some things happening within the game itself. Perfect. All right. So make sure you have that there. And then the last thing we can do is we can also go ahead and just turn off all the menu UI, which we can do by simply doing a self.visible equals false. Nice. All right, looks good there. Now we're going to go ahead and make sure to update the current text. And we can do that simply with our process function. So we'll do function underscore process. And we're not going to use delta. We're not going to be dealing with any of the frames. So go ahead, underscore that to get rid of that warning. And then within it, we're going to go ahead and get our difficulty text dot text and simply equal it to the words double quotes difficulty colon space, and then we'll add in the string value of it. So plush str parentheses global dot current difficulty. Now you can leave it as just current difficulty, but because we start this at 0, I'm going to make it visually look better by adding a simple 1. So it'll be 1, 2, and 3, not 0, 1, and 2. Okay? I personally like that better, but again, that's up to you. So make sure you have that in there. Then we just need one more button to connect, which is going to be our reset button, okay? That resets the data. And again, that's also going to be inside of our selection page. So go ahead, locate that button, make sure it has a unique name, go to the pressed, and connect it to the menu UI script. From there, all we're going to do is we're going to reset a couple different global variables. So let's go ahead, inside of it, we're going to do our global dot delete save data, and then another global dot reset game state, and then last restart the whole game, which we can do by doing a get underscore tree parentheses set dot reload current scene. And with that, it'll go ahead and restart the game after we reset all the data. Make sure you got all that in there. Let's clean up this a bit. Let's go ahead, save what we get, and go back and get ready to test, okay? By default, though, we want to make sure that that selection page is turned off and only the title page is turned on. It should look just like this. Nice. All right. To test it out, we're going to go ahead and start current scene. Let that load. And then we'll simply test all the navigation. So let's hit play. Looks like we go to the correct scene. Can we also go to units page? Yes, we can. Can we go back? And can we start battle? And there we go. Looks like it's all working correctly. Let's close out of there. Let's go back to inspector here. Close that up. Recenter things. And save what you got. In this section, we're going to get started creating the unit selection page. First thing we'll do is discuss the unit selection page being created. We'll then ensure to add all the correct images for each unit type you can have in the game. Last thing we'll do is add in some locks for the 2 unlockable characters you can purchase with coins. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's go ahead and discuss the units page about to be created. Now in our units page, we're going to be able to view and then change out our current selected units. That's going to be these boxes here. We're also going to have a box showing your current coin count so you can use them to unlock other unit types. How you'll be able to switch them out is simply by selecting one of the unit types and then another one that's not currently selected, like one of the unlockable ones. Now let's go ahead and get started. Alright, let's get started creating our units page. So let's go ahead and we'll first make our current one, the title page, invisible so we can see the units page a little better. Let's also make sure the units page is turned on correctly. Alright, so we're going to add in a couple different slots on the top for the current unit selected, and then of course all the different options we can have below. So to get started, let's open it up. Let's close things out there. Let's add in a new node. Let's go ahead, add a simple node 2D, and let's call this slots. All right, so for slots, we're going to need a button for option 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? So let's create another node 2D in there. Let's call this slot 1. I'm also going to add the 1 to it to make it easier to read. Perfect. All right. So for our different slots, like I said, we're going to need an image now for each. Now the image is pretty important because again, we're going to have a different variety of ones we can select. So let's first make the little background for it. Let's right click, add child node. Let's go ahead and just use a color rect. Change it to BG. The first one's going to be the base black background. So let's go ahead and add that there. And again, it's kind of up to you how you want to style this. I'm just going to use a nice square, not too big, probably about this size here, maybe a little bigger. Nice. If you want to get more specific, you can go to layout, you can go to transform, and there you can go ahead and increase and decrease it. But again, that's up to you. I think it looks pretty good. So let's go ahead. Let's take this. Let's also do a Control D. Now this one, I'm going to drag and drop in it. This is going to be our base blue color, which we can get from one of our other buttons, like the button back right up here. I'm just going to go to its color. I'm going to copy its value right here, and then paste it into our other one right over here. Nice. Perfect. Then we just need to adjust it. So let's go ahead, make it pretty much equal to the one we have for the back button. So let's go ahead, give it a nice little border. Again, it's up to you how you want to style this, but I'm just going to make it as simple as we can make it. Looks good there. Let's do this side here. And then a little bit more there. Nice. Awesome. And with that, I think it looks pretty good. Again, you can always customize it whatever way you want. But let's go ahead and take the slot 1. Let's also put it in the correct position. So we're going to have 4 here. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4. And then of course the all 6 down here. Okay. We'll adjust this later on. Let's go ahead and have a base one here. All right. So within here, we're also going to need, of course, the actual image, text, and the button itself. So what I'm going to do before we forget though, I'm going to go ahead, right click, add child node. Let's get our nice label first. And what I'm going to do to make it simple, I'm going to go ahead and just put it kind of towards the bottom. And then about like right here. Maybe a little bit lower. And then we're going to do slot 1. And then we can go ahead, center it all up. I might go ahead and just leave 1 lowercase. Make it a little bigger with the label setting. Let's do something like 25. Again, it's up to you how you want to style it. I might do a little bit bigger. Let's do 28. Perfect. And I'm going to move it up just a little bit. Nice. Awesome. All right. So we have slot 1. Let's go ahead now, do the next thing. So now we can add the button. So let's right click on slot 1, create a button node. Let's call this button and make sure the name is unique. So we have button slot 1. All right. Again, we're going to need unique button names for all of our different buttons. Okay. Let's go ahead and put this there. Nice. Again, if you want to make it not be darkened out, you can go ahead all the way to the theme, select type variation, and go to flat button. Perfect. If you're using an older version of Godot, you might need to change the little highlight effect on it, which is going to be in theme overrides, styles, and then here you can go ahead and adjust them here. Perfect. All right. Let's keep going. So let's go ahead now and add in the images. So this one is going to be one we're going to reuse. So we're actually going to make them all in here. So let's right click, add child node, create another node 2D. Just make sure this is above the button itself. Let's go ahead and just call this unit images. Perfect. All right. So for unit images, we're going to have all of our different types. Okay. We have unit 1 through 6 that we're going to have. So let's go ahead, add child node. Unit, or actually, you know what? Instead, we'll have a base node for it. So just node 2D. And then we'll rename it as lowercase unit 1. All right. Unit 1 is going to be our just regular soldier guy. So let's go ahead, open up art, locate the one we want to use. That's going to be in the tower defense one. PNG, default size, and then you can go ahead and scroll on down to locate it. Might be more towards the end. And there we go. Here's some units, the planes. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead though And what we're going to do is we're also going to right click, add child node. We're going to get a sprite 2D. And what we're going to do is first locate the one we want to use. So we want to use the little green soldier. So let's locate where that is. I think it's right here. Yep, let's take that, drag and drop it on. Nice. All right, then what we're going to do is we can go ahead, kind of like position it somewhere in the center. Also increase the size. Let's go to transform. Let's go to scale. Let's increase it to like 4. That might be a little too big. Let's go to 3 instead. We could go a little smaller, maybe 2 or 2.5 might look better. Perfect. All right, for 2.5, let's go ahead, center it up. Put it like about there. Perfect. Maybe up a little bit so the text isn't covering it. Awesome. And then you can also make it a little clearer if we go to texture, change filter from inherit to nearest. Perfect. All right. And again, you can customize however you want with this. I'm also going to go ahead actually and put the label below it too, just in case some other units are going to be, of course, behind it. We want to make sure that sets correctly. Okay. Awesome. So now we have, of course, our unit 1. Now we need our unit 2. So let's control D. So for unit 2, this is going to be kind of like a swarm of little robot guys. So let's go ahead and let's first find the one we want, which is going to be this one here. Let's drag and drop it into the sprite 2D. Now because we're making a swarm, we're going to make them a little smaller. So let's go ahead to that sprite 2D. Let's do like a 1 for this, maybe a 1.5, just to make it a little smaller. Perfect. Okay. So we'll have 5 of these guys in here. So we'll have 1 here, and then we'll do like another there. And yep, let's do like another there. And yep, another there. And align it correctly with that as well. Yep, perfect. Awesome. Again, it depends on how you want to customize this. I kind of don't like it too close to the text. So what I might do is just take these two, move them up just a little bit, about like there. And then also the same for the others we have. Move them up a little bit as well. And our centered one, centered up. Perfect. Awesome. All right, that's going to be our unit 2. Don't forget, we also need to go ahead and eventually we're going to add this to the other one, which will make sure to change that. But let's go ahead and keep going. So we have unit 2 now. Now we're going to need pretty much the next one. So let's go ahead and do our unit 3. So let's go ahead, control D. Our unit 3 is going to be our bigger unit. So let's go ahead. We don't need multiple. Let's delete those down there. You can also make the current one invisible so we can see it a little better. We're going to use the bigger zombie one, I think. This one here. Let's take that, drag and drop it in there. Let's make the size bigger. Let's do like a 3. Now that might need to be a little bigger because this guy's still kind of the same size. So let's make it even bigger than 3. Let's do like a 4. Perfect. That emphasizes that it is the bigger unit type, okay? And again, because our text is in front of it, it'll be on top of it. Perfect. So that's going to be our unit 3, okay? So we have our unit 1, our unit 2, our unit 3. Let's keep going. Now we're going to have our next one, unit 4, control D. So this one's going to be 2 tank units. So let's go ahead and locate the tank unit. If you scroll down a bit, you'll start to see the tank parts. So we'll have the tank gun here, but we also have a tank base as well. Let's locate where that is. I think it's this one. Yep. Let's take that, put that there. That's way too big. Let's decrease it. Let's do 1.5. Nice. Maybe even a little smaller, maybe 1, because we want to see them both, okay? So we'll have 1 here. We'll put that kind of towards the top. And then we'll do another, because we can spawn 2 in. And then we need the tank's guns. So let's go ahead, control D, locate the tank turret, drag and drop it in. And then 1 more right above, control D, and just put it above, similar to how we had the one there. Perfect. Awesome. And that's going to be our unit 2 type. Okay. Again, it's up to you if you want to kind of put these closer together. I think it looks pretty good like that overall, though. I might move this one down just a little bit. It does seem a little high. So let's go ahead, select those 2, and just kind of move that inward about there. Okay, nice. Perfect. All right. And I might actually move this one down as well, just a little bit. Perfect. All right, that's going to be our unit 4, the tank unit type. So now the next one we need is going to be the mana generator. So let's go ahead and do that for unit 5. Control D, unit 5. Let's go ahead and start creating that. Let's start with 1. So let's get rid of these ones here. Let's also make the other one invisible. All right, so this one's going to be kind of like a placement for a little base we can create, but over time it's going to give us more mana. So let's locate the base circle we want. If we go up a bit, we should be able to find one. One of these would look pretty cool. Let's go ahead and use this one here. Drag and drop it on. And then go ahead and increase the size. Let's do like a 2 for this. Might be a little too big. Let's do like a 1.7. Nice. And then let's go ahead. Put it somewhat towards the middle. Nice. And then to make sure it's kind of like a mana thing, what I'm going to do is select that sprite 2D, Control D. Let's get like a circle. And then we'll have that on top of it and just kind of change it to like a blue color. I think it'll look pretty cool. Let's locate a nice blue circle. Keep going up there a bit. I think there is a default one somewhere. Yep, here we go. We got like some rock ones. Let's see. That's a bush. We need to find like a gray circle. Let's see if we can find one. I guess we'll use the circle bush and we can just change it blue. That's fine. I think it's going to be like one of these. Yep. Let's keep going. I thought there was a gray like circular one that we could use. I don't think it's here though. They might have updated this texture pack. That's okay though. Oh, here we go. Here's a bunch of circles. Okay, these are going to be kind of like weapons we can use. But let's take the lightest color one, drag and drop it in. And then what we'll do is increase the size. Let's do like 2, maybe a little more. Let's do a 3. That's pretty good. And let's go ahead and change the color of this to make it blue. So it looks like it generates mana. Nice. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So there we go. That's going to be our unit 5. So we have one more to go. That's going to be the plane unit. Let's select that, Control D for unit 6. Let's delete this one here. Now we just need the plane. I'm going to take the blue plane here, or the green one, drag and drop that in, make sure the other one's invisible. And I kind of like the default size, so I might leave it. I think that's okay. Again, you can adjust it if you want to, but I think it looks pretty good. All right, we'll keep that for unit 6. Sweet, so now we have every unit type for our unit images. Because again, once we select these and switch them out, the correct one will always be visible, okay? By default though, let's leave unit 1 visible. Let's go ahead though and create the rest of these slots. Easy enough, we already have our first one, so we can do Control D, change the name, slot 2. Let's move that over. Don't forget, we need to give it a unique name, okay? So go ahead, button slot 1, button slot 2. Keep going. Oh, also the text, don't forget. And then we'll go ahead, do the third one, Control D. Move that over. I'm holding the Control key, which kind of helps it click into space if you want to do that while moving. Let's also change the name. Slot 3. Don't forget to change the label text. So slot 3. And of course the button name as well. Slot 3. And one more to go. Control D. Move that over to the correct position. Nice. Go ahead, change the name. Slot 4. Change the font. Font text. Slot 4. And then go ahead, make that button have a unique name as well. Button slot 4. Nice. And we can also go ahead and adjust the default images for the other ones. So since this is the 4th slot, I'm going to make the default number 4. For the 3, let's go ahead, make that the 3rd one as well. And the last one for 2. There we go. number 2. Make sure we're selecting the right one though. I think it should be that one, and there we go. Nice, perfect. All right, and those are going to be all of our slot ones. Perfect. Let's save what we got so far. Let's continue on. All right, so we have all our different slots. Now we need the different selectors, okay? So these are the ones that we can basically change out, all right? So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to call these the units, all right? So let's close slots. Let's close button. Let's right click, add child node, and we're going to add in just another node 2D. Let's call this units. All right, so because we already have a couple here, easy enough, all we need to do is we're just going to take one of them, like the slot one, Control D, and let's take that duplication, put it into units. Then let's change the name, and I think the naming convention, we're just going to call it like unit 1 button. So let's go ahead, unit 1 button, and we're going to need 6 of these. So let's go ahead, and we also need to make basically the button unique name as well. So button, we'll just go ahead, do the same thing, unit 1, all right? Make sure we spell it correctly. All right, and then what we're going to do, we're also going to get rid of the label because it's no longer a slot. If you wanted it to have a label, you could, but I'm going to keep it as is. Let's also take that though, and we're just going to move it down a bit to like about there. Okay, nice. So we have unit 1 button. Let's go ahead, do unit 2, Control D. And again, let's go ahead, rename this. Let's go ahead, unit 2. And honestly, this naming convention is going to be kind of hard to do with the middle one we changed, so I'm going to do this instead. We're going to get rid of that. We'll put 1 at the end. Same thing for this one. Let's get rid of 2. And we'll put that at the end as well. Nice. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead. We're going to make the correct one visible. So this one is going to be not the unit 1 visible. It's going to be the unit 2. And I am going to center this a bit. So let's go ahead and take unit 2 and just kind of go like that. And then go ahead and make this unique as well. Button, and make sure we have this selected, button unit 2, okay? Nice. All right, and then we can go ahead, adjust the position. Let's take it, hold down Control key. Perfect, all right. And again, if you want to adjust this as well for these ones, you can. We just don't have the label, so it looks a little different. So I might just go ahead and move that down just a little bit. Perfect. Okay, let's do the next one. So we have button, unit button 2. Let's do unit button 3. I'm honestly going to move this over as well. Change the name. Button unit 3. Let's make the third one visible. Let's go ahead. And we're also going to change the name here to button unit 3. Nice. Now one thing to make sure though is make sure we don't have these as the same names in the slots. I don't think we do, but just want to double check because that's going to cause some issues. Again, we always need a unique button name, all right? Nice. So make sure you have that there, perfect. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So now we just need our fourth one. So let's close that. Let's select it, Control D. Change the name, unit button 4. Let's also make sure the fourth one is visible. Nice. And also change the name to make it unique. 4. Let's go ahead, adjust it as well. Make sure we are moving the entire button though. Nice, okay. And now we need 2 more, so let's keep going. We can also move these kind of back a little bit. I'm going to take all of them and I'm going to move them over about there. And again, it's up to you. I just want to make sure it's kind of centered as best we can get it. Let's do it like that. Nice. And then we'll move it down a bit to about there. Perfect. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do our 5, Control D, unit button 5. And let's go ahead, make sure the 5th one is visible. Let's see. There we go. Don't forget the name needs to be unique. Unit button 5. Just like that. Nice. All right. Let's keep going. One more. Control D. And yep, I think we're actually missing one. I think this one, let's double check. We never moved the 5th one over, that's why. Let's move that over there. Perfect. Also, looks like we didn't make the correct unit number one. That should be that one. Unit button 5, no, 5 needs to be that one. 4 needs to be the correct image. Interesting. Why is that not showing there? Unit button 4, unit button 4. Okay, that's there. I think this one's still behind one. It's because we made another one there. We'll move that over there. Perfect. Okay, there we go. Again, always make sure though the button names are correct. Unit button 4 is correct. Double check unit button 5. Perfect. All right, last one to go is going to be the 6th one. So let's go ahead, change the name. Unit button 6. All right, and then what we're going to do, open that up. And let's see, let's go ahead and make the image correct. There we go. And then of course the name, unit button 6. Nice. Awesome. All right. Looks good there. Perfect. So now we have all of our different selectors, okay? And again, it's up to you. If you want to kind of like change these up a bit, you can, just so we can see that things are centered. It's also okay to just move it down a little bit if you need to, like this one here. I'll move down a tiny bit. You can then select this here. And then just like that, move it down a little bit. I'm going to go down just a bit. But the other ones look pretty good to me. This one might need to go down just a tiny bit. Let's go ahead. Just a bit. There we go. Nice. And that looks pretty good to me. All right. So we have all that there. Perfect. So now we just need the lock ones, okay? Now these are pretty easy. We don't really need to make any new buttons. We just need to kind of have one that overlaps these two. So let's do this one first. Let's select unit button 5. Let's Control D. We're going to call this unit button 5 lock. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to remove the unit image. So let's take that and just delete that. Hit OK. And we can also do that to background as well. Control D, or you can go ahead and just delete it. But we're actually going to take that unit button 5. We'll call it unit button 5 lock. And what we're going to do is just change the theme to the regular button, which should darken it out just like that, okay? Nice. The one other thing we could add is the actual price. So I'm going to take one of our current little texts we have, or you can create a new one. It's kind of up to you. I might just create a new one since we're here. Let's just add in a new label, and we'll go ahead. We'll just overlap it. Just make sure though that the button label is below, so we can click it still and still view it. So let's select that button and give it a cost. I'm going to do $, and then let's just do like 10. We'll center it up. And yep, center it there. I'm going to give it label setting. Let's make it that nice yellow. And let's go ahead, increase the size. We'll do something a little bigger. We could do, honestly, we could do like, let's see, 40, maybe even a little bigger, like 50. And then give it a nice outline, like 20. Change that to black. Nice. All right. And if you wanted to kind of move this around, you can. Again, it's kind of up to you. I think it looks kind of okay like this, so I'm going to leave it as is. But let's go ahead now, and we're going to take this exact button here for unit button 5 lock. Control D. We're going to put it in front of the other button we have over here. change the name. So unit button 6 lock. Okay. And basically what's going to happen is once we unlock these, then it will make them go away. Okay. We're also going to make sure to directly put it on top of our current one right here, just like that. Also increase the price for this one. This one will be 20. And then we're also going to go ahead and give it that unique name for button unit 6. Nice. And there we are. Now eventually we'll add a script onto this so we can actually give it its functionality. But so far I really like the look. Again, you can always style it whatever way you want. But so far this will be kind of like the base plate for it. So let's go ahead, close that up there. Let's click Add Things. Close up our folders here. And let's go ahead, recenter. Save what you got. I really hope you enjoyed the free module, but if you'd like to continue, you'll have to go ahead and navigate to my official website at redfoolstudio.com/game development. From there, you can go ahead and select the intermediate course and then get full access to the entire course itself. Hope to see you there.